To get a whole bunch of economic data here to kick things off on a Thursday morning. December retail sales just coming in 0.4% for the month of December on the month-over-month expectation. They're a little bit higher than expected. We're also getting initial jobless claims, 217,000 higher than expected. 209,000 was the expectation on the week-over-week number. I have clicked off of the website. Give me a moment here. There we go. Retail sales ex autos still in the process of populating there. I'll refresh this one more time if we can't get that, but it looked like for the most part everything was basically in line with expectations. There we go. 217, as I mentioned, higher than expected. 209 on the initial jobless claims. Retail sales ex auto 0.4 in line with expectations. Continuing claims 1.859 versus 1.87 million on the week over week number. So weekly jobless claims individual higher, the ongoing basically flat. Retail sales, though, as I mentioned, 0.4 versus 0.5 on that number. Philly Fed index is coming out there as well, 46.3 in line with expectations. We'll get business inventories coming up at 10 o'clock this morning. Some housing data, retail inventories as well, ex-autos coming up at 10 o'clock. So long list there, but mostly focused on that employment data after the last couple of days with inflation, had the market moving all over the place at 8:30. Yesterday, we got the big pop CPI. If you missed it yesterday, comes in lower than expected, which kicked off the rally to start things on Wednesday. We're trying here to get back to the upside for the NASDAQ, 0.3 right now. Still holding on to a nice day. That was yesterday.
Yeah, it was a great day yesterday. The NASDAQ leading all four major indexes this morning. Lots to talk about. We got Taiwan Semi reporting way better than expected results. We'll talk about that, giving a boost to the chip sector, as well as Trump considering possible executive order to kind of put the kibosh on the TikTok ban, giving a bit of a headwind for Meta, and Snapchat Hindenburg also shutting down, Brendo, giving SMCI a bump, and Tesla Cybertruck discounts not selling as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons all of a sudden driving around the streets of Toronto. I see one almost every day now at this point, it seems like. But yeah, that was a bit of a surprise this morning. That TikTok headline, a bit of a surprise, I think, this morning as well. I mean, let's be honest. They were trying to push this thing through as fast as they could before, Trump comes back into office again. So if you missed it this morning, it looks like he's trying to pass some sort of executive order that would delay it by 60 or 90 days, delay the court decision by, or the enforcement of the decision for 60 or 90 days. So just give everyone time to kind of understand what's going on. If you missed it here, I'll just recap on that jobless data here. 217 versus 210 on the initial jobless claims. The ongoing claims basically in line with expectations, 8.5 million. Happy Thursday, guys.
Yeah, happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome. So this is the first day. Feels like it's been a hot minute since we've had 8:30 and the market doesn't do anything on a number.
Yeah.
The last couple of days have been a little bit more juicy right off the bat, but
it didn't even really do anything, did it?
No, we really did nothing on that.
Went up 30 handles, down 20 handles. Yago's got a hold of it and flat.
Yeah.
What is that? You still got Lamb Research?
Well, Lamb's up for a reason because TSM had strong earnings, but the biggest thing, and we'll talk about this, the biggest thing in TSM's earnings was the CapEx spend, which obviously if you make chips and you're spending more money on CapEx, then you're buying the things that make the chips. So Lam and AMAT are all up. Wolf Research obviously knew this yesterday, and that's why they downgraded the stock. They knew TSM would be spending more money,
Randy.
And now they're going to be up.
Right.
Ooh. See? Treats are in. Randy with the haircut. Well done.
So fresh, man.
It's very fresh.
Went to Halim, right? You went to Halim over there?
Does the trim beard?
Yeah, you better say hi this time. Remember last time? All right, so five. I was looking at Tesla down 1%. Little interesting. We're going to have some stories here on Tesla and what's been happening with some of maybe the prices of the Cybertruck, as Brendan was just talking about them. A lot of them around. He's 100% right about that. So I feel pretty bullish about them, not about the look of them, but about how I'm seeing them around. I'm actually starting to see. I don't know. I still see Rivians. Like I think it's pretty much 50-50 now for some reason, which is strange because they had a good. The most is Polestar. I would say. I see.
Oh, they're moving today.
I see, besides just the Model Y and 3s.
Really? Because
Model 3s are the most.
No, I know Polestar.
And then Model Ys. Yeah.
I saw one recently. There's a Rivian in my neighborhood.
Really? Oh, yeah.
Polestar's down 7% today, by the way.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh, they reported?
TSNY?
Oh, that's not good.
I mean, I was just talking about it randomly. Down to $1. Okay. Wasn't this below $1 at one point, or no?
Was.
Why, come on, charts. Let's load up here a little bit here. Oh, yeah. Down to 85 cents. Gets that dollar. Doesn't, I guess, look at this. I mean, we take a look at that. I mean, down here at $1, I mean, that could be something. It's held before. I think that's probably 60 cents. I mean, you get a triple. You get a triple from August, 60 up to 180. I don't know. It's so tough. It's so I don't, like we see them on the roads and you see all this stuff, and then it just seems to be one king in the space, and it's like,
Yeah. What do you?
Anyways, I have Tesla. It's on the sticky notes out. I want to buy Tesla on dips. I don't know if the market's going to dip. I wrote down that we have to watch out for the jobs number, but it seems like it comes pretty clean there, 217 versus 210. So a little more on the claim side, which it's not big enough to worry about it. Yesterday's lower CPI shows possible reason for later on rate cuts maybe being justifiable if they keep steady with those inflation targets and those inflation numbers. So that's why yesterday you get that big bump up in the SPY and the Dow and the NASDAQ. And, the NASDAQ closing up that 2.5%. I mean, it was a big move, and it closes near the highs as well. Yesterday's SPY number brings it all the way back through now. I mean, you didn't dip by it. Fine. I didn't. I was waiting for lower. Now you're at the 50-period moving average. So the SPY has really been doing nothing for 2 months. You're just back right now to November, beginning of November. So that's the election bump. So you have right now just gotten back in and around day 1 or day 2 post-election. So can the move, continue higher, take out those new highs? Well, guess what? We're right into earnings season, and so far so good, led by the banks yesterday, and even banks like Morgan Stanley didn't even report yesterday; they were up 5%. So there's some good flow through here. I forgot to mention Durandi. I want to get another coffee up in here too, but
yeah, Morgan Stanley will be up more on their earnings today if they didn't run yesterday. So it's like, it seems disappointing for Morgan Stanley because they did beat top and bottom very nicely, but you have to put it all into context. The move that they got off of Goldman Sachs, Citigroup had a great day yesterday. Wells, most would say the report wasn't even that good, and they still went 6% to the upside. These should still be on watch. Watch out for Robinhood made a 52-week. Oh, sorry, check that. Robinhood made an all-time high yesterday. That looks like a continuation play. There's a heck of a lot to watch. We'll be watching crypto. I see the XRP troops are still in the chat as well. So we'll keep an eye. That 100,000 level.
XRP, yeah. I was in. I know a couple of people that made a lot of freaking money on XRP. Oh, man. I sold it on that initial bump of Gensler, but we'll look at some crypto as we go. Look, 99 is coming back in again here for BTC. 99,123 right now. iBid, again, on radar for me as well. We put out the note. I'm down here at $56, bidding as we speak to see if we can get a dip into that level. I really like it. It was yesterday's level there, 56. We broke higher, held it in. We'll see if we can hold 5-6 today on iBid. So, all right, let's go back over to the desk and see what the boys are up to.
It's IPO day. We haven't had a lot to discuss over the past couple of months here on the IPO side of things, but we're going to get one today. Flowco. They really went all out on creativity for that, but FLCO is going to be the ticker here. Am I not right? FLOC, my bad. FLOC is going to be the ticker here on the NYSE. Yeah, not a lot of shares coming to market here, 17.8 million shares, priced at $24, so it'll open at 50.
So they deal with oil field equipment and services, so interesting time for that, I guess, with the incoming administration saying drill, baby, drill. So we'll have to see how they do today. $427 million total here marks the first significant IPO, obviously, of 2025, as we're only a couple of weeks deep. So we'll keep an eye out on this one. FLOC is going to trade. If it comes live during the How to Trade Midday show, we will be covering that for you. No questions.
Yeah, I mean, if it's your first time seeing IPO coming to the market, there's no guarantee as to when this will actually open. We'll keep an eye on the expected open as they're pairing off all of the orders. But it's usually around that 500 million mark, 500 million notional mark, where you kind of perk up and pique your interest just to see. But that being said, typically it's the tech related or tech oriented type of IPOs that get the most attention. I don't know, guys. I can't remember the last time we had an IPO in the energy space that was notable.
True.
It's been a long time.
Well, now that we've been put on the spot, I can't think of one. So
energy space.
yeah, I don't know. Like, what was?
Well, it'd have to be like some renewable energy company.
Yeah, it would have to be
something like that. But
no, nothing's coming. Nothing's coming to mind. That said,
I don't know what to think about it.
earnings are not earnings.
I don't know anything about the company.
They are what they are, and like I said, I don't know anything about the company. It's not going to have any data to it, but I do remember for a lot of IPOs that aren't going to be that big, you want that first day of trade is kind of what you're looking for, and I know. See if I can find on a 15-minute service Titan, because that was the last one we traded. I guess I'll have to go to a 30. That was the last one that we actually really liked in terms of a trading opportunity. As you can sort of see here as this loads up, there's not a lot to dig into. Like, look at the volume. It's the first day. And if anything, it was the first move. Like, this thing opened above $100, immediately supported 101, and then just took off. And it was that initial move that you got, which was great. But it was like 10 minutes long, or maybe it was longer than that, for the long trade. And then after that, pretty much nothing. Like, dump. You had breaks, but look at the volumes just non-existent. So obviously, this is the day that you want to watch Flowco. By the way, Flowco, next time, if Flow is not taken on the NYSE, maybe you should have gone with that, because I'm gonna have trouble remembering FLOC. But we'll see what happens when it opens up. I don't know how geared up I am for it. We like that. We like TTAN, and we thought that might be a decent one, but I'm not terribly excited. There's a lot to watch today. So many stocks made some big highs, and I think because we didn't get any big shock with the number, continuation plays are going to be a big deal. So all the things that were strong yesterday, you want to take a look at. I mean, the chips are going to be there. I'm just looking at the top of the board, and Broadcom, ARM, NVIDIA. This is a day where LAM and AMAT are actually going to be on watch for me for the first time in a while. I haven't traded those in a while, not even on my board. But yeah, I just feel like the chips are going to be a play. I don't mind if I see it. I'm not going to put an opening order on that stock. It's just not one of those types of IPOs. But if it opens up and immediately shows a bid at like a nice even dollar and it's not too high up, yeah, sure, I'd take a trade off. But that's about it.
Yeah, I think so. I'm just going to show a tool that we'll use here for IPOs as well. So you'll see it in here. Here it is right here, FLOC. So it will come once this gets paired off. So right now it's not too much interest. As Brendan mentioned there, 500, I think he was talking about the paired volume, which may or may not come through, but there it is, 200,000 right now. So we'll wait as this sort of dwindles off and we get more near zeros on both sides there, then it'll most likely come to open. Most IPOs, the last 5 or 10 that I can remember anyways, are like sub noon. So like 12:30, 12:45 Eastern time is generally when they'll open up, and if not, closer to 1 o'clock. So I think Sharif's probably on that one, on the note of watching it for the midday show. So FLOC, and thanks for bringing it up, because a lot of traders will hit that. We did that Service Titan move right off the open, and it was just a a blast. I think we got one of the opening prints. It held the bottom of 102.50. And you basically trade the long. For me, you only go long. I've really looked at it long. You take the long until it breaks the opening price. Like it's really that simple. And you don't use too many shares because liquidity is always going to be a factor. I just want to quickly look at Tesla. The reason why you don't want to use too many shares is because like once it breaks that 102.50, let's just say, then you don't know who's bidding. Like there might not be another bid till $98 or something. So if you just put out a random market order, tough, right? So if you send it down 50 cents or something, then at least you're hunting for that liquidity. All right, so a great bounce off 423 on Tesla. So Andre's a really busy guy over there. 423 right now holding. Thanks. What a great job switching, by the way. 423 holding on Tesla back up to VWAP. So just interesting mover here early for TSLA, down 1%. I want to watch this. On negativity, I want to be buyer of Tesla in and around this 415, 416 area. I wrote it down. Whoops. I wrote it down. That was me. I wrote it down on the note there today. Go check it out. I'm gonna try to get another coffee going on here. All right. Let's go back. Let's go back over to the desk. Yeah, it's freezing.
On Apple here this morning, it's actually trying to get back to break even right now, 0.3 to the upside only. There was a minor headline in regards to China, the top smartphone sales crown. Apple being dethroned from that top step. So we did have a decent gap up here this morning to 240, but this is fading pretty quick here for Apple.
Yeah, it's something we didn't know, though. I mean, we had already gotten the information that they were not doing that well in China. Quarter sales were down. Q4 sales were down. So now they're number 3, I believe, behind, I think, Honor, or I'm not sure who was. Huawei is number 2. Somebody else is in the number 1 spot. I'll check that for you guys later. The other side of the coin is TSMC reported today, and obviously they got driven, or their revenue was driven heavily by AI in the data center, but they also spoke about Apple's chip demand specifically for the 16, which was strong according to them. So we'll have to see if it's just a China-specific issue or whether we're going to continue to wait for the super cycle that's still yet to take effect.
Wasn't that Honor brand Huawei's like second?
I'm not sure which one is number 1.
They were related.
It's Huawei,
no, but I thought it was like a
sub-brand?
Yeah.
I think so. Right.
Anyways, but yeah, those two ahead of now Apple in third over in China, guys.
Yeah, look, Apple had a pretty good day yesterday. But everything had a pretty good day yesterday. The only concern I'd have with Apple, at least like chart-wise, is when you kind of look at if you look at the action so far in here at that 50 period on the daily, I feel like just like a close above 240, that's kind of like the needed step. You have day one of breaking a bit of a trend down since the highs. You pull back 10% off the highs. That seems like a very reasonable place to have caught a bid, but you're still underneath where we fell. You know, like you haven't completed the V-shaped recovery today, and we didn't get that spike that we've been getting every single day this week early on to take you into that territory off the open. So now you're sitting, $2 underneath some pretty decent resistance on Apple. So this is one, I actually didn't put this down for a short, but I had 238 over under and was like, I don't know how much I love that, so didn't bother with it as a top idea. But the more I look at this, it's like we didn't have any kind of a shock. Like not a lot happened off of 830. There's not a lot of reason not to look for some kind of a mean revert in here at 241 on Apple, like in this range, like 241 to 241.5. Like prior support into resistance. We're not showing a ton of strength if there is an initial blast up. Fair enough. But if we close above 240, 241, I'm probably looking long into these mid to high 40s. For either tomorrow or next week. But yeah, I think you got a bit of a chop zone in here that we could turn around if Apple gets up.
All right, so I have a little bit of a long bias. It's going to be my number 1 look for today, down to 236. So if we dip into this level, I really like the support. I'm going to start to trade around 237. So if we're going to look here on Apple, the reason why, I thought I like it, and I obviously still do, right into here yesterday. So, this whole week we had this 236 level, bounced its head off of there, came back in. Yesterday, tried to take it out 2 days ago, didn't, came back into 234. Then we blasted higher, held it there. The dip into yesterday was only 236.50. So and I don't think the NASDAQ comes down to give us this trade. So we may have to go long 238. We'll wait, but I'm going to give it a go. So if Apple comes anywhere near this 237 area, which we were at yesterday afternoon, it's very possible. I already have a bid there. I'm starting the buying on Apple in this area. I just feel pretty bullish about the market. So we'll see. I mean, we're trying to hold. We got to get above VWAP. I understand that. We're underneath now. It's not a strong conviction at this time because it's not moving. But Apple being up with the market here, if we do get a pullback in, I think we like this level. There's 237. I'm going to start the buying there. And then we can get out of it. It's just like these Tesla calls. If we break below this 236 right here, then I'm going to bail. out of Apple. So here's 236, you know, right in this line. That's the 200 period moving average. It should be a good support area. If it fails it, we could sort of swoop into this 234, even, yeah, like this is 234 right here. So, you know, this is a zone of, let's see if we can accumulate and then pop through again. So I'm not, you know, it's like when we took, I don't know what it was. Oh, NVIDIA was just yesterday when it broke through 133 and we got out, or 132, and then we got out and waited for it to break back up. It's the same kind of trade there today on Apple. So if Apple gets into that 236 area, this is what I could see happening. So yesterday, again, one of my best trades was going long in this, getting out at 132 when it broke the support that we thought was there. Then when it took the support again, then we had that long back through and put us into a nice trade there on NVIDIA. So let's see. Let's give that area 237 a look for Apple. And again, at Trader TV, Sean, we have a couple of ideas posted. All right, Adara's at the green screen with upgrades and downgrades.
That's hilarious.
Both sides of the board today, starting with Netflix getting an upgrade.
Ooh.
$955 price target. UPS, you're getting an upgrade from BofA Securities. Monday getting a price target decrease, but an upgrade here from Citigroup. And First Solar actually getting a Seaport Research upgrade up at 1.5% right now. AMD on the downgrade side of things, Wolf Research basically negatively comparing its valuation to that of NVIDIA. You can read more about that downgrade on our watch list. Make sure to check that out. Datadog getting downgraded here by Morgan Stanley, down about 2.5% this morning. Enphase, the second silver name on this list, getting a downgrade here from Truist. And last but not least, we know at the end of the day yesterday, Southwest was hit by that FTC probe. Now, Citigroup actually downgrading the stock this morning, down by about 3%. So not a lot of love here for Southwest. Tons of interesting names, though, on this board, guys.
We're going to get Luis Barbados in here from Barcelona, Spain, to give us an update on some of the small caps moving around here this morning. There's a ton to look at. We've had quite the week as far as small caps and low float names are concerned. There he is. Happy New Year, first of all. Good to see you.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you too, guys.
What a couple of weeks we've had so far to kick things off here with low float names specifically. Small caps kind of go hand in hand here. The Russell overall up huge yesterday after that inflation data comes out in favor of, you know, some of these smaller companies. In general, give me your thoughts here to start 2025.
Yeah, you're right. We had a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, pretty crazy. Our scanners of gapping up and runners during the day were going crazy, like the most running of small caps in the whole year. But it's true the last days is a little bit more quiet, maybe because of the macro data released yesterday and today also, even though the market didn't move a lot. Seems that the traders, the funds, the banks, and everything is moving a lot of money to the big names, to the index, and so on. So today, actually, we have kind of a quiet day for small cap world.
A ton of volume behind a few of these. I mean, let's get right into it. A Wheeler here, WHLR, up big time, 80%. We're off the highs, but I mean, 37 million shares traded here already for WHLR. What are you looking at?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the main ticker we're looking at. This is only the 2.5 million shares float, and it has already traded like 10, 15 times the whole float of the stock. So it's gonna get very volatile. It is true. We check the stats always, you know, the data. If we check here, Wheeler, we have 15 gaps and 66 probability of closing red. And if we go specifically, because you cannot look all the gaps as if they were the same, but if we go specific to the gaps over 50, 60, or 100%, we have only 3 in the last years. And it is true that it seems to be a lot of movement pre-market, but once the market is open, the movement is more, let's say, normal, not so volatile, not so parabolic. And we have another one around here of 90%. And if you check the chart of that day, we have the same, a crazy pre-market. And once the market is open, it's just fading slowly with some pops to, you know, reload shorts, squeeze shorts out. But it seems to be that the days that is gapping with huge volume and a lot of percentage up, the movement once the market is open is quite more normal, let's say. So we're going to look for shorts in this one if we don't see volume coming in after the opening bell.
Another one that I believe you and I have touched on in the past here, this is also a repeat offender for, I'm sure if you pull SOBR up on your list, you're going to see a higher number than 60%. This one, as far as I can remember, this one does the same.
60%, yeah. This ticker used to be a gapper many years ago, I guess. We don't have so many gaps over 20-25% for the last years, only 5 gappers. So not a lot of data. It's a stock, if I'm not wrong, that it has a reverse split few times. So not enough volume for us in this one so far. Let me check the chart here on the P-Pro. It's just above the dollar. So let's see how the dollar reacts. If it holds over the dollar and we see some clears of pre-market highs, 125, 130, we might check for longs. But otherwise, we're just going to wait a little bit if it has volume or not.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, if you want to touch on that a little bit further, maybe, Luis, that $1 level tends to be a major pivot for these. You know, if you get those ones that are $1.10, $1.15, $1.20, there's really not enough room between that key level and where it's actually trading to get interested.
Yeah, it's an important level, as you say. First of all, you have to take into account that many traders, many algorithms, high-frequency trading, when it loses the dollar, they stop trading it because of many reasons, rebates or the third and the fourth decimal. So the people involved trading these tickers, once it fails below the dollar, it changes right away, automatically. So it's another kind of behavior. You don't have rebates. The movement is different. It's more volatile in percentage, but less volatile in cents, of course, right away. So we always look to, if it holds over the dollar, we look for another kind of behavior. If it fails the dollar, probably we will look for a fading on the way down. It happens the same over $5. The market totally changed when a stock goes over $5. Don't ask me why. It's more about psychological behavior, I think, of the human being more than anything.
Yeah, that tends to come into play a lot in this game. Here's another one just popping up to new highs as we speak here. We just touched $3 on RZLV. Not sure what the news is on this, but 20%. This was gapping up already, but another one with a relatively low float here as well. Again, RZLV around that 280 mark.
RZ, there I see in my scanner. Yeah, popping out 20% right now. Yeah, this is looking good for longs. Let's see if it has news already. We don't have news. It's United Kingdom company, which is also important. 46 million shares float. Let's see if it holds here and it goes through the $3. We're going to look for long on dips in this stock. Probably it's going to be strong. We look for more volatility and parabolic movements on stocks that they are not US based, like China or United Kingdom, Israel, any of these, Brazil, any of these countries. The stock tends to move with more volatility and more parabolic. So let's see if it breaks through the $3 level, and we're going to look for longs in the dips.
Great stuff as always. As we head into earnings season, typically the time you kind of see, as you alluded to when we kick this off, you know, volume dying off, interest dying off in some of these small caps. Anything else catching your eye here today?
Yeah, today we're going to look in 2 stocks of a quantum sector, RGTI and QUVT, because these stocks were down like 60-70% from highs. In RGT, for example, there you see, from almost $20, it went to $6, and we have had a couple of days of running up. So let's see if we fail this VWAP again, either RGT or QUVT, any of those stocks, if we see some weakness below VWAP, we're going to try to short them and see if we can see some weakness on this one and some volume and interest fading again in the sector, as it happened a couple of weeks ago.
Luis, always appreciate you doing this. Thanks for jumping on once again this morning.
Thank you very much, Brandon.
As always, thank you, Luis. I'm just so curious, like, what was on that T-shirt?
I hate having Luis on in the wintertime because it's like I always just think about, oh man, this guy's in Barcelona, you know.
And we're wearing sweaters around here.
No, great. One of our favorite guests
Yes.
that we continue to have on here. He gives us a look at some different names. I mean, he closed the show basically talking about Rigetti there and some of the quantum names, and we had Rigetti huge yesterday back into VWAP. It was probably like technically the best trade for me yesterday just because of what it wound up doing there right off the open. Now it doesn't look like it was VWAP, but there's a dip right into there. We were able to buy that dip into $10. Nice move up to 1150, then falls back in. So I'd say if you're going to look at a level to short today, it is that 1150 area. And I mean, look, we can sort of get caught with, look at everything with rose-petaled glasses, meaning like, okay, everything's always going to go up, and that's great. But if you're going to go short, 1150. But for me, I like the long breaking through this level. I'd rather wait for that to happen and blast that short. So if you are in a broker or you're on a floor like us, maybe a prop firm, or even you're trading at home and you want to go short, make sure they're borrowable. So you may have to pay you a little bit extra to get the locate there. So yesterday we were dip buying into VWAP. Now, unfortunately, we're underneath it. So I can see why the short may be in favor. But I just want to try to play momentum. You're only up 1%. I mean, this can go up again. But it's going to have to get up 5 or 6% to get here. Then maybe we go 10. So I would say if you break 1150, get something out around 12 for sure. That little top wick is 1190. We'll see what plays. Near the bottom, unfortunately, support maybe 1050. I don't know. If you're going to play the bottom, we waited yesterday till 10. So we bought 850 in the morning, then we bought 10 o'clock, then we bought $10 again right there. So we had a couple bangers on Rigetti yesterday, and it was patience game. So I think that's the play for me again today on what is the leader right now in volume, right? I mean, Rigetti's on 20 million shares already today. So the leader in the pre-market volume, from what I can see anyways, I have a little scanner up here, and I switched it over to volume right now. So we do have this what is this one? BLRX apparently right now. Yeah, 10 million. So that's up here at the top as well. Rigetti, QBTS, Lays is there. I think you were looking at that yesterday, and then followed by NVIDIA and some other names coming through as well. So a couple good names to look at here today. BLRX. 10 cents, but 10 million shares.
Yeah.
That's kind of nothing.
When you pull that up, that's at that level 2. That level 2 is not generally what you want to see for a 10-cent stock. You wanted there to be like chunks, not 6,000 share orders, chunks of 20, 30,000 share orders on the bid. There was just news on SoFi here. SoFi had a great day yesterday. It's up another 2 points today. Actually, some of that on this spike. Essentially announced $525 million securitization agreement closed in Q4. Yada, yada, yada. Let me just find the rest of it there. And funds accounts managed by PGIM Fixed Income. So SoFi was amongst the host of names, whether everything got a lift from the banks. So basically all of Fintech was very strong. I actually like Hood for a continuation a little bit better, but SoFi kind of did it where you've had this downward channel and it closed above the channel. I think if you're looking for continuation plays and some Fintech names, again, I like Robinhood a little bit more today. But yeah, SoFi holding on to like 15.5. It's got room to rally. It's the kind of break that usually, technically, you're looking for that high. But I just kind of prefer Robinhood. All-time high breakout. 52-week high breakout into an all-time high break as well. And it held the top on a bull flag really nicely. So just looking to buy the bottom of the flag and see if we can take out the top.
All right. I was just looking. Yesterday we had SoFi down, and we had a couple longs in our account yesterday down at $15. So, and that was great. And we got out at VWAP, and then it popped at the end of the day. So yeah, these levels are great. I really think 1550. I mean, I'll probably put a bid here on SoFi like right now. So another great look, great news, great story. SoFi up 1.7%. I'm going to will be bidding 1550. So that's another trade. Right now I'm bidding Apple, I'm bidding iBid, and I have a bid on Tesla. So Tesla, though, my bid at Tesla's 417. It was there since I sat down. So we still have $5 to go before that gets interesting. So, okay, let's go. 9:04, let's go through the watch list.
59.89, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on the ES March contract. coming into that 6,000 point area. Already breached it in the pre-market, with 60.17 being the overnight high. So look, here's the deal. If we reclaim 6,000, we're looking at that 6,025 point area as a resistance. If we fail 6,000, we're looking at 59.75 as support.
All right, if you haven't done so yet, jump down to the description of this video, hit the very first link, top link in the description will take you to the sign up page for the watch list. All you need is an email address, and then it comes right to your inbox every single day with everything you need to know on it in the pre-market. Let's go to semiconductors to kick things off here. Taiwan Semi, TSM coming through. I see double of Sharif.
That's okay.
Taiwan Semi coming through with better than expected results here this morning. 1.5% for NVIDIA as a result. The entire group benefiting from this. We'll touch on AMD, however, in a second.
Yeah, AMD got downgraded. Well, let's talk about Taiwan Semiconductor right now. Amazing report, guys. Profit rose 57% year over year. Revenue 38.8% year over year, surpassing estimates both for revenue and income. Look, it's really the high performance computing segment which really contributed. That's kind of AI and 5G. 53% of their Q4 revenue came from that segment. They also have a good amount of demand for mobile chips, specifically for Apple. Their 2024 revenue, an eye-watering $88 billion. They're expecting their AI revenue to continue to move up, to double, in fact, in 2025 after already tripling in 2024. Some potential headwinds for Taiwan Semi and the industry as a whole. U.S. restrictions on advanced AI chips and the export bans as well, Brendo, as the trade policy uncertainty as we come into tariffs, possibly soon.
Yeah, very soon. Just around the corner here. Just reading a little more on that PGIM SoFi link up, as you were mentioning. So this is the second round of funding from them. So 525, the initial was 350. So an extra 525 on top of that, guys.
Funny. TSM,
25.
could we break the high today? And the one thing you're going to notice about TSM in this news is it's actually not NVIDIA or Micron. Obviously, AMD has a downgrade, so that's a different story altogether. Those aren't the names that are up the most on sympathy, and we'll get to those in a second. But for TSM purposes, 222 change is going to be a high of the day. You're diddling a little bit in the middle of the range here. So this is not, like, it's not at an obvious area on TSM. I don't know that that's the first place I want to go. NVIDIA had a strong day yesterday. Don't want to get too complicated with it. It still obviously has the support down in the low 130s, but you have close Friday, high yesterday, and then also the high on Tuesday. So like it's this 136 level, kind of like a grip it and rip it. Like if we dip back into that, just look for the curl end, right? Like look for the mean reversion on NVIDIA off that level. But it's also the CapEx spend with TSM. So they're increasing by a wide amount, the amount of spending. Of course, that's going to mean that the guys who make the things that make the chips, that's who they're spending on. So Lam is going to be up, and AMAT's going to be up, and ASML is going to be up on this, all significantly more than the other chip names. So yeah, AMAT, 4.5 points here, kind of a local high break, and gap has already happened, so kind of eyeballing this 183 other high in here for the most recent dip buy in a prior resistance on AMAT. The other play that haven't traded Lam since it's had a reverse split, which isn't reflected on our chart, but it does set up for an $80 breakout, about $1 away. When I look at it, there's pretty much no volume pre-market on Lam. Maybe one I would come to a little bit later. It's AMAT that I want to go for the dip by, that 183 level setting up in addition to NVIDIA. So that's a bit of a change from the normal. And I guess we'll talk about AMD in its own category later, unfortunately.
So, look, I mean, some good levels there on TSM. I have it written down today on the note as well. I really like this 215 dip buy area. Every time we have an earnings report, we talk about play the gap into VWAP. So when we wrote this, it was around, those levels, 214, 215. You've now edged up into 216. So that's probably the new 215 right now for me, in and around here. So I think this is a good start, the day. Let's wait to see, though. It's not something, in my opinion anyways, from what we've looked at, where you stand in front of it and take it. If you're going to take 100 shares, let's just say that's your full default, then yeah, when it falls in here, you could buy 20, 25 shares, see what happens in and around VWAP, which would be 216. But there still is a potential for this name, obviously, to dip back into the support of the pre-market low, which is 215. So to me, that's a much better area. And then because it's earnings and because it can gap up and it's a $200 name, I feel pretty good about holding this until 213 bottom. So I think it's $2 or $3 worth of risk on the downside in order to get a much, much bigger break and potential go. Like yesterday we had, I can't remember what it was. We had 406s in Tesla. It went to 427 or 428 at the close. Like that's $20. You know, this name could go 10. It could break through. Like you get long 215, this thing could be at 225, right? I mean, 223 is that high. So let's see what winds up happening. I think it's worth the hold. I think it's, if you get a great price, probably something to hold on. And there's the break right now of 218. So I don't know. We wrote that down earlier. Looks like that 218 broke already on us, just as the sticky note or just as we went live on air. So I would say now your new high of 219. I'm almost waiting for 220 at this point then. So I would say take the 220 break long, or play dips into VWAP using 215 as support. So whenever you guide higher, guys, I mean, I feel like that's the medicine this term.
The golden ticket.
Yeah, because what we've done in the past is the past. Yeah. We've seen stocks have a brutal quarter, but then guide forward, and the stock is rocket, you know, because all we're paying for is future value. We're not paying for past performance. And what you can do is you can extrapolate. You already use Lam Research and different things like that. If Taiwan Semi is going to have a good quarter, well, what does that mean for ASML? What does that mean for some of the parts that are involved in the game, right? And so that's what we're leading into. That's why the market, I'm bullish today, because I think there's going to be some more flow through with a quarter like this and with positive bank earnings again. So, and speak of the devil.
Here we go.
I wonder where do you think, where did that saying come from?
You know what?
Is it a
that one I have no idea.
Literature? Is it?
I'm looking over at Adara because usually she's the one that knows things like this.
Attention. She probably already. Well, nobody knows. Okay.
Well, let's just ask.
Well, speak of the devil. All right, let's go back over to the desk and let's hear more about bank earnings.
Yeah, following up big day yesterday for all of these. We get more today. Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, to name a few here. Here's Morgan up 2.25. BAC not quite as much. Actually, yeah, on the way back down. We were higher initially on that report, so a little bit of a reversal there for BAC. But as I was mentioning, I mean, they all benefited yesterday from the huge reports that we had. For the most part, a beat here for all of these.
Yeah, it was. Let's talk about Bank of America first. Profit rose 47% year over year, with revenue increasing 15%. The reason profit's so wide is because they don't have that significant one-off charge that they had in 2023. The increase in revenue came from investment banking and asset management. They also had better trading results. With respect to Morgan Stanley, this was a significant beat here, Ram. Earnings, $2.22 per share, significantly exceeding the 170. Revenue, $16.22 billion, surpassing 15.3 or 15.03 billion. The higher market values, inflated management fees contributed to wealth growth, and investment banking activity rose 29% year over year. Somebody's doing something right over there.
It tends to be a theme after what we saw yesterday with these as well. But unfortunately, 2 days in a row here, guys, price action not terribly exciting so far.
You know, but it wasn't, look, if you looked at Goldman yesterday, and look, why, we said this already, why Morgan Stanley's up 2.5%, not 5 or 6, or something a little bit better. Part of it is the run that it made yesterday, gapping up because of, you can pick your poison, and all the banks that reported yesterday were up. Goldman had a power move. All of the same things about it being sleepy in the morning, you could say that about Goldman, and then even after you open, it looked like you were just gapping too high. It held that $600 level and gave you some continuation. So that's what I look for with Morgan Stanley today. I just look at this, as long as it holds above the prior close, that's it. But when you always have the morning conference call and the liquidity at the open is the real money coming in, not the 500,000 pre-market light volume that you see. You saw the ramp that Goldman made, and then it came back and held that VWAP. So as long as we're upward trending, that's what I want to look for in Morgan Stanley. This is not I will trade it at 9:30. The banks, when they report in the morning, are never a 9:30 trade. I think it's something that you come back to a little bit later. So we already mentioned Robinhood, so no need to go over that one again, but that's going to be on the radar. Morgan Stanley as well. I do think this has a very good chance of getting up to its 52-week high today. But it's got a whole 131 at the open. It doesn't matter that the earnings were good. What the market decides to do with that after.
I was just looking at the ARKQ.
Oh, by the way, it's a medieval saying. It's not even interesting. It's just from the British Middle Ages.
Okay,
It was believed that mentioning the devil's name would summon him. So it's like the phrase was "Speak of the devil, and he doth appear."
Right. Okay.
I thought it was something a little more.
That's pretty cool.
Juicy than that.
Yeah, I guess it's not super juicy. All right. So we talked about yesterday we just talked about some of the plays today. What about a day 2 play? Citigroup kind of flat right now. Possible dip by opportunities. We always like the 200 period moving average. That would be at 76.50. I mean, if we do come down, that 77.50 is the breakdown low on Citigroup. I like it. I like the trade back into 77 again. That was a level yesterday that we had talked about. It did do that sort of under, then way over, and then bounced off of it again. So 77 there for Citigroup is a play for me. And then JP Morgan load was something similar yesterday off the open. We sort of just made a move down initially. It didn't get to VWAP. I remember it went to the 50 period. Then it came back, then went. So here again, you're basing out down here at 249. Whether or not we get to that level, who knows? But this is another great opportunity as we continue to ride the 200 period here on JP Morgan. So yeah, 249, 250, great buy area for JPM. And as you can see, the stock is right here right now. So if we get a little bit of an imbalance rock here as we're going to get them at 925 with the NASDAQ, and we have some, I don't know, it's predominantly buys on this side, but there's JP Morgan right here with a sell. There's Uber with a bid. What's Uber's price these days? $67. Okay, they had a nice rebound yesterday, I guess. There's TSM we talked about. And then QBTS has been on every day near the highs. So again, doing over 20 million shares. I mean, 1 million is not going to be the end of the world. Oklo, another name in the quantum space as well. So we'll get to quantum as our fifth note, but right now let's go talk some crypto.
Yeah, not much to deal with as far as headlines this morning in the crypto world. Coinbase specifically, however, has relaunched Bitcoin-backed loans for users. That was just a couple of minutes ago for Coin. Didn't really do much on that, but huge day yesterday with Bitcoin up massively yesterday. Bitcoin itself actually slightly red, about 1% right now, but still holding essentially most of the gain from yesterday.
So we've been hearing a lot about the strategic reserve possibly being accumulated there by the U.S. government under Donald Trump's new administration. Yesterday, his pick for U.S. Treasury Department, Scott Bessent, basically made it very clear that he wants to focus on the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. Not really saying that conflicts too much with Bitcoin, but kind of a bit of a shift in possible priorities here for the administration. We'll see how Bitcoin trades today, locked in 100,000, 90,000.
Yeah, I think next week is going to be pretty exciting for this entire market, guys.
Yeah, I'll say. Well, I mean, it's already pretty exciting, right? You don't have to wait for next week for the excitement. You broke 100,000. Of course, we didn't close and hold 100,000 on Bitcoin. I think that's disappointing. I thought we had a really good base with that failed break at 99K to head upside. I know we were looking at MSTR in the afternoon yesterday because it was breaking. It basically just took its high at the same time as Bitcoin took 100,000 the second time. So that was a very unique sort of breakout setup. But Mara's on the verge of breaking a trend here. So if you just kind of look at the last high back in November. Now remember, this entire time, Bitcoin's been holding the top end of the range, and Mara has been finding itself into a bottom. So if it's made a temporary low and breaks the trend, pretty simple. This is 1865 when you go into a 15-minute chart here. It's about 1865 or just slightly underneath that sets up this resistance spot. If you break out above this, obviously Bitcoin's going to probably need to take 100,000 for that and hold on to strength. That goes without saying, but I think there's a lot of room for it to run. If we hold underneath 100,000, then that's the zone that I would play regressions on. So that's, actually had a line drawn here for myself, but that's the line I'm working with, 1865 on MARA. That's what I'll be watching. Of course, do I want to break out in Mara if Bitcoin is tanking? Of course not. In that case, it's underneath resistance, I would look to go short. So I'm going to have IBIT up. I'll spot Bitcoin, IBIT as well, up so we can make sure we're in the right direction. But that's the over-under, 1865 on Mara. Like that trend test that you've got on the daily chart right now.
Yeah, I have very similar ideas here with IBIT. If I go over here and check this out, we have written down here 56 dip buys into yesterday's support. BTC, watch out for 100K. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious talk here as we go. There's some. If I'm looking at a New York stock, sometimes like when I switch it over, it doesn't happen right away. All right, so again, same story, right? Same story, different chart, really. It's just here's that 56 bottom. So it's like I try to be as simple as possible with some of the ideas, as you guys can see. And it's just like this has been support. You go back here, you know, not that there's much there, but that was the bottom back on the 6th when we opened up, blasted that off there. So I kind of just like some of these points. So that's going to coincide with, as Neil was saying, probably like that 98.5, 98.4, something like that area. So if we dip buy into those levels, I'm there for IBIT. Yesterday we had a killer, like an absolute banger of a trade in the afternoon when we took that dip buy, when it broke through 100K, it came right back to the 50 period right there, then ripped into the afternoon. So I don't even understand why, actually. Wait a second here. Where was yesterday? Yesterday was right into here. So there's the dip buy. What time was it? Oh, right into here, right. Oh, yeah, because it wasn't the 50 period at that time. So there was the dip buy there into the 50 period at 2:30. That's when it was. And then there's the move up. So we had that dip buy. So it broke 100 right here at about 56.70, came back in, went up, then fell into these levels again. So perfect. So 56.20 is probably where we hover around. I think if you're pretty bullish on it, you go long there. I'm going to let it come into 56, understanding that the 200 period really is 85 or so. I'm out of this trade. Probably if we break, like I want to give it a little bit of room. So maybe in and around here somewhere, 55.50 or so, and then we'll see about accumulation areas around 55 flat. So, all right, IBIT, love the dip buy opportunity here. I think the market goes higher. We talked about that today. You guys are asking for my opinion. I'll talk about the TQs in a minute, but I've said already every single idea on here is long. So I'm in that camp here, and as you can see, green, 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 green. So all these names here, we're looking long today. Early on the market.
Quickly before we go back to the desk, Chris, thank you for the super chat, 420. Appreciate you. Maybe 420 isn't the level on BBAI, Big Bear AI with a new CEO. Thank you so much for that, Chris. But here's what's sort of obvious with it. There's your support at $4. There's your resistance already at $4. Now I haven't really paid for locates on it. It's a bit of a reversion on the daily chart. You can see there's already some stacking of selling underneath that $4 level. So it's got some things it needs to chew through. Somebody is, well, I don't need to tell you, you can see what's happening at $3.80. Every now and then off the open, I haven't done any work on this stock, but every now and then you break something like this, and it's just an easy scalp trade off of the open. Something similar happened on FTAI just a few minutes ago, where it was just stacked on the offer. That's that stock with the short seller report yesterday. Stacked on the offer at like 120.60, and then the second it broke, it just trended to the upside. So that's what I'd watch for on BBAI. But let's talk about the chip name that isn't doing well. Sorry, one of the chip names that isn't doing well.
Oh, no, I didn't even look at AMD today.
Yeah, back to green here for AMD at least, 0.17 right now to the upside. That's a daily chart, so everybody has a good idea of trend is definitely down still at this point. We're just taking back 120. For AMD, was Wolf this morning with a downgrade to quote-unquote peer perform?
Yeah, I like these
outperform.
I like these categories. Each one's got their own unique one, Brendo. 2025 revenue estimate being markedly guided down from 33.6 billion down to 29.9 billion. Earnings per share also taking a hit from 533 down to 419. These are projections by Wolf. They're also forecasting down for their data center. That's basically another word of saying, or another way of saying their AI revenue. So they're forecasting that down from 10 billion down to 7 billion. The revisions follow the ODM build plans in Asia, indicating modest growth. Analysts expect AMD to withhold guidance on their earnings call next month, I believe, for data center GPU. So they're saying it's so bad that they're not going to guide for it. They're also saying there's challenges in the PC segment. They're expecting a 17% decline. Gaming segment, they're expecting a 20% drop. So kind of bleak here from Wolf.
Yeah, continuing to try to find some levels here, guys, for AMD. What are you looking at?
Okay, so I know we looked at NVIDIA and TSM, obviously, and some AMAT, but Wolf downgraded Lam yesterday. Lam's not doing too bad. So, and on top of that, AMD was strong yesterday, and somebody was accumulating shares up at 120 bucks. Like, it just sat there when the market kept on going higher, and AMD was trying to drop because it wasn't breaking when the market was breaking up. And look at it, just anchored to 120 bucks. It's doing the same thing in the pre-market. Intel's doing the same thing at some of these levels. So I think, you know, it's obviously a stock where if we turn around, I'd look for some breakdowns underneath the 120 level. But I'm not chomping at the bit after what we saw with the pick that Wolf Research made yesterday on LRCX. It is what it is.
Hard to,
yeah.
Hard to get hungry like the wolf when they're making plays.
I actually like Duran Duran.
That's
pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, I think, very, very famous band. Okay, so here we go. I like NVIDIA still. So yesterday, it was a banger of a trade. We talked about actually taking it right, in the face basically at the beginning, right there as it broke through 132, then bought it back and able to hold it through all this. So the fact that we were able to buy it and it came back in, great. I'm expecting a little bit of a dip buy opportunity again as well. 137.50, if that comes through, then I want to be there for that. That's the 200 period moving average. Like, that was just a little excitement there off the open yesterday as we gave back some of that CPI number, only to see what the market did at the end of it all. So I still like the long. If we like the long, I'm going to try to test VWAP again there. Outpacing the market by 1% right now or more is NVIDIA. The imbalances are now out, so we can have a quick little look to see what they're saying right now. There's Rigetti, so they come out on the NASDAQ right now as well. WN, so there's really no major NASDAQ name. There's Google here as a bid. That's been having problems at 195, 196. That could be something. I just saw Apple on here as well as a sell. So we only have 2 more minutes, only 3 more minutes left before the bell. So we're going to get back over the desk. But not much happening here early on the imbalance locator. And I'm dip buying NVIDIA. I'm bidding 138.
Around for a few things here. Rigetti, as we saw, I mean, a buy imbalance, but downside right now, we're now red significantly, was up better part of 3% along with the rest of this group. I mean, even when we were talking to Luis there a couple of minutes ago, it was still in positive territory. So quick reversal after, I mean, the volatility in these has just been crazy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially after yesterday when Jensen, we found out that NVIDIA was investing in quantum, despite what Jensen said a week earlier. They're hiring people as well for their quantum division. In addition to that, Microsoft came out yesterday and told their business segment clients to be quantum ready in 2025. They're also looking to invest heavily in that. So we'll have to see how the space ends up panning out. But you got QUBT still up 9%, trying to hold yesterday's close at around 1150, Brendan.
Yeah, all of these had huge moves after the close yesterday, which produced some of this gap. But yeah, I mean, this is the one to look at, I guess, right now, guys.
Yeah, I think you pick your poison. IonQ, I think, is a little bit different. It had a great day, but usually it's a little bit more stable. I'm looking at QBTS, D-Wave again. 675 never broke yesterday, so if you can't make this for the breakout, it's a pop and fade. It was kind of weak in yesterday's trade, and once it fell through 570, like, that's where the best shorts were. So I'd probably watch that level for any kind of a bounce, and then look for a pop and fade in QBTS. Be remiss if we didn't point out that DJT is tracking through the high here. No imbalance, no story that I heard of here, but DJT just took out 42, took out yesterday's high. It's got 43.35 up top for a bit of a resistance level on the daily chart, their local resistance level on DJT. A few days before, obviously, the inauguration, it probably doesn't need a story to get going, and it is making a move.
All right, well, I told you first position's now in. I told you we were bidding Apple 237. So there it is on the sticky note, Apple 237. I take out 5% up there at 237 right here, 30s. So we get in at 05. I was like in and then instantly offered that out. I am offering another 5% up here at 50s. So if we break through 50, then I'll get another piece out. We'll take 50 cents early before this market even opens if we can on a light piece. So it's just a nice start to the day. we'll buy ourselves a, you know, maybe a matcha or something with the profit so far. And we'll see if it continues to go higher, though. We'll see if we can buy a little bit more than that. 238.45 is a 200 period. Let's see if the market wants to be weak here or not. Crypto is starting to go back up to the upside. Come on, Apple. Just give me those 50s and we don't have to worry about it. 99.350 right now for IBIT, for BTC. We'll have to have a quick look at Tesla because it's going to be another name of interest for me here as well. Falling into 417 is my bid. What am I bidding? I'm bidding Tesla 417. I'm bidding SoFi as well, but I feel like this move, I'll just pull back in a little bit as well. So SoFi, I'm bidding 50s, Tesla, IBIT, Apple, NVIDIA. That's it.
Yeah, NVIDIA and Robinhood for myself. QBTS, we'll see what happens. Oh, AMAT, of course. Nice. We talked about that one. For the first time in a while. Ooh, that was a little bit responsive. It's going to be 1 second early there, Adara. But we are locked and loaded on this Thursday. Ring that bell in actually 3, 2, and 1. Ring it.
All right, welcome to the jungle. We just get that fill there on Apple, so that was a big one there on AAPL as we get our 50 level there. So we'll take 50 cents early on Apple. I do have another offer up at 238 in case that goes. There's NVIDIA. Merry Christmas, man. That came real quick. Now we're long to NVIDIA. Remember we said the fall in this name is very, very possible, and we are well prepared for this because we have our levels written down, not on the sticky note, but in our head, right there, what we talked about where we wanted this name to come in through. So watch out for 136 and change on NVIDIA. We're long right here, right now, 137.80.
And NASDAQ just made a bit of a move and came back in there a little bit. AMAT's not moving yet, so probably not going to be too concerned with that. Hood did come into 45 and a third, like right dipped in, like dropped like about 70 cents, popped back into the $0.50. VWAP's going to be way too high up in here, so trying to get a reload if we can up near that or down near that 45 level. Tesla's coming down in, QBTS. No quantum bounce in this name as that's headed to the downside.
Oh boy, Neil.
What's up?
Oh boy. Right now, let's just wait on it and see. But we almost have a nice dollar now in the money. This is a monster trade. Let's just keep on getting some out here on this trade. Boy, oh boy, did we get that level there on NVIDIA. And man, did we nail that. This is a monster here for me right now. 80 cents in the money on a big boy piece. This is the best part about having good days is now you get that confidence. Now you're putting on more shares. We talked about yes. Okay. Neil, it's 9:31. We said we'd be doing this 1.5 times day goal right here on the very first trade. But we got to get out still. We need to get out more shares on this trade. We are out of about 65%. Let's punch some more out. Oh boy. That was good. All right. There it is, man. That was a great trade on NVIDIA. We buy that dip, and we talked about those levels. As soon as it came in, we're like, let's get some more there on NVIDIA. Good trade. All right,
Roberto WW, emotional damage. That's what you got to try to do. Put the damage on the market. Just quickly over here. I'm only in one long. We're going to step it up a little bit here on Robinhood. If we hold 45.5, we're going to start loading back into it. It just tagged VWAP. It did get close to 46 without breaking. The other thing that's happening is D-Wave is not abating whatsoever. There's not seeming like not a bounce. Yesterday I played an over-under at 6. Today I thought the short was going to be a lot higher. Let's play a little bit of patience game, but somebody is accumulating at that $6 again on D-Waves. Look at the price action. I think we break away from this. You could have a pretty upsized move. Still looking good on Robinhood. Would like to be able to buy some higher and add to it, but we could end up with just a top breakout to add to that position. AMAT it's up, but not a lot of liquidity off of the open, so might have to be a little bit cautious. Oh, shoot, that penny stock halted.
Oh, no.
BMRA. Oh, this was a miss. That's a miss. BMRA, that penny stock, bounces off $1 exactly, holds it to the upside at 118. You're going to throw this up on the side. If it opens up higher and does any kind of a dip back in that allows you to play off the $1 level, that should be worth it. Robinhood now at 46, continuing to track higher. Still looking for that little bit of a dip to be able to add back in and then see if we can carry this one through. 52 weeks highs
Look
here
at the market,
for Robinhood. But the market's coming down. That's what's weird to me. The NASDAQ's coming down in and Hood is breaking it out. Yeah, the NASDAQ could go red here.
Guys, you guys want to talk about emotional damage? We didn't even talk about the dollar winner on Apple. We got out at 238 flat right there again. So, yeah, I mean, today is that day again for us here. Nice move, as now comes Apple right back in. So watch out for these levels. We didn't have many shares, so we covered it right there. But I didn't even realize what exactly this market was doing, coming right back in now into 21.4, hitting those pre-market lows and trying to think about it right now. So we talked about like getting lighter and lighter on these positions. Let me take one more piece out here on NVIDIA. I do have a 138 level, obviously sitting there as well. We'll take some out in the 80s as the market just continues to bleed down a little bit. So let's get less and less excited here, about these shares. I mean, it's just a whole market at whole. Apple now trying to fall in. I don't know, what is... I got to still watch out for NVIDIA because I.
Meta's above VWAP. It's 610. Like, Tesla.
Oh, Tesla.
Yeah, Tesla. That's at 417. Okay, where's the reversion?
Where's my bid? It's not there yet, is it? I'm at 417.
Okay, 413. I have a support at 413. That's really far to the downside. Just one other name, because Mara's starting to make a bit of a breakout. I have a trail on Hood. If the market continues down, if Hood can't hold that high breakout, it's an all-time high break. You fail an all-time high break in the opening range, I want to take the profit. But all of a sudden, Mara's looking like it's trying to hold this break, and Bitcoin's back above 99. So that was the other name that we're looking to get into. Come on, Mara. Make that move, close that 25, and see if we can grab that long. But Hood is just teetering at that all-time high 46 breakout. Let's see if it can hold on to it. Wasn't able to get the ad at 45.5, but we're going to hang on to that trade and look for this Mara entry. I like the fact that we're headed back in with the market down.
Oh, boy.
Crypto is headed right back up above that 99,000 level. So let's see if we can weasel our way into some Mara.
Get it, Neil. This is like Apple goes right into our level of 236. This is the sticky note #1 trade idea right there. We go long, and now we are cashing out again on this level. 236 long right now on Apple as we just go, gadget, go to the upside here. Let's see if we can go now. I mean, we've got it. We've got the Apple spot that we like. We like this long down there at 236. We take the 235. We wait very, very patiently, guys, to grab this level. It does break it down to 95s. We had the long after that. We waited for it with the market crashing in. Let's wait. Let's make sure we're right. It's now $1 right there on that side. So Mara over here, NVIDIA, $1 in the money. Apple trying to get there as well. Let's go over and see what Adair is up to.
XPeng is certainly to the upside here.
Wow.
XPEV, and it's also outperforming NEO too. So XPeng here about 7%. I could not find a catalyst on this. It's about 5.8% short float, and they're even breaking new high of days. The thing with XPeng that's worth noting is a couple days ago, back on Tuesday, they did announce a collaboration here with BP Pulse. So that would be the charging side of the British oil company BP. So just be aware of that. XPEV though, strong regardless, guys. Back to you.
I never trust moves in that stock, so nothing against XPeng. I just never trust those gaps to the upside. AMAT is, the market is still coming back in a little bit here, so AMAT is tracking towards that 183, already one bounce. Robinhood, we wicked out that 46. It's right at yesterday's high. We're going to do two things at once here. This is Hood, yesterday's high. I grabbed the out at 46, 45.30 to 46. The top is 46 quarters. So if we fail or do any kind of a pullback, we're going long off of VWAP in Robinhood. But here comes that AMAT into 183. Needs to hold that bottom. You're seeing some strength in the market. When I look over, TSM's going up, and AMAT is coming down. So got to be a little bit more patient with this. I don't want to catch a falling knife, rather catch it on a bit of a rounded bottom and a bounce. So we're going to be a bit more patient with AMAT instead of just jumping on that sword. All right, here comes VWAP potentially on Robinhood. That's at 45.85. Market's still looking weak, however.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Very weak.
Yeah, we are, you know, like I said, we're having a day, but I'm also getting out right now as some of these plays just start fading back out a little bit. Like, look at this. We just got out up here at 138.40, then had to punch a little bit more out as we come back into these levels. Look, it's still 40, 50 cent winners, but if this bottom doesn't hold, then we're right back into there again. So now let's give it that one last shot to see if it can go now. I mean, we just retested down at that bottom again, so we'll give that a shot and see if we hold one more time. Remember where our outs are. 137 break, we're out of NVIDIA. We already have that order in. Our stop is 136.99. So pretty much 40, 50 cents worth of risk. So we're in the 1-to-1 right now. And then Apple, let's go. We have an offer up here at 98 or so to get out, but this is not a bad bump. Let me just put a piece out right here, 64, 65. We'll take some more outs. Oh no, we just missed us. We'll take some more outs if it comes back up into that area. But let's just wait. Our stop is 235. Our stop is 235 on Apple and 136 on NVIDIA. So, yeah, some interesting plays developing here early as the bottom maybe is in. We are bidding, and when you said Tesla's coming down to 417, we're bidding 417.25. It gets as low as 418.25. So that trade could possibly come in as well. I'm surprised though now, right? Like as you had mentioned before, like the market's coming back in, and right now the market's spinning to the upside
now
here.
It's bouncing.
And yeah, so we have to wait for what stocks are bouncing because it's definitely not Tesla right now. Could it be NVIDIA going through the 138 again? So far, so good over here. We've got some big bangers on board here. 2 for 2 today.
Yeah, only in 2 names right now. Mara, well, we're out of Robinhood, but it's still holding 46. We just jumped into Mara, and I'm now bidding on AMAT. Look, AMAT did the move that we wanted. It dipped, held 183. Now you're getting a bit of a higher low. Yeah, Daryl would like to stock it. Is very spready on AMAT. No questions asked. So a bit of a wide spread here on AMAT as we just tried to get the break of the prior bar high. No fill, but I'll sit and wait for it. I think with AMAT, you got to give it some room. I think you get to 190 today on a big move, and 187 is the high, so you got to risk it back into 183. Mara is continuing to go. Bitcoin's underneath 99.
Okay.
Make assumptions, and you make a you-know-what out of you and me. So when I saw Mara popping through the high of the day, my general assumption was that Bitcoin was actually going up in that moment. But when I looked over, I saw we're at 98.9, and you track over to IBIT, and it's underneath VWAP.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, the fact that it's even working out here on Mara, I like that fact. But that 1865
Fact, Jack.
rule says that's a resistance level and a short level as long as Bitcoin is not breaking out. So that's going to be the target. We're long here on the high day break into 1860s. We'll be taking this one out for sure. So we got to 22 long. Love that number. We just got some 40s out. We'll wait for it to get to 18.5 and continue to work that long trade as long as it holds. But I'd like Bitcoin to be helping that trade more than it is.
Yeah, so look, I mean, so far this is what we've been doing here on our friend NVIDIA. I mean, it's just now back up into is in today's high here, NVDA. So let's wait to see now what winds up happening here on NVIDIA. I mean, hopefully we get a nice little downside push in the market again. I don't know, 21.4. Could that come through? We're watching it. What I was looking at here, there goes NVIDIA. We just got some more fills at the 50 level, and we just got another fill here on Apple. Apple's the one that we're going to have to wait for. I mean, we are just really just chilling out right now. We did indicate SoFi was a trade that we did want. What? That went to 15.50? Guys, I'm literally bidding 15.50. You know, that hit 15.57 right there. So good move up there for SoFi. We were too busy doing something like this. But at the end of the day, we'll take SoFi, and good call on it, obviously, down there at 15.50, but nice move in. We do have a new position, Neil. It's Tesla, as that just came in as well. So right now, hey, we're doing it again on Tesla. Let's see if we can get some profit out on this name first, though. Nice move upside there on Tesla. Okay, we'll take a 65. We're waiting at 80s as well. If we can get an 80, that'd be great. There it is. We got an 80 as well. So there goes Tesla, Neil. Another 50-cent winner. It is. Another one, and we'll pass it back over to you.
Yeah, this might be the first short of the day coming in for me, and it's going to be Qubits, as it cannot. We said this name needed to try to hold this bid, and the battle is being won here by the sellers. Underneath VWAP, 613 is going to be the top, the local top since the open. I'm going to grab the short just underneath 6, get my stop at 616. All right, I just heard something on Carvana. Oh, come on, we just missed the bid, or missed the offer, actually. Now QBTS really heading into the downside and breaking that low.
Yeah,
so continuing to fall here. Whereas Bitcoin is now at 98.5, so that's really dropping.
Yeah.
Mara, I'm not reloading Mara. We're going to jump out of Mara. Be happy that it went up when it did, but Bitcoin going in the other direction. Yeah, the quantum name's really starting to fall here. Maybe you can catch like a Rigetti a little bit later. Where's Rigetti? Mom Spaghetti, right at the lows. Oh, shoot, I didn't pay for locates. Doesn't matter. Got to go to qubits.
All right, Tesla still making these moves. We were able to get something out near that 418 as we talked about, but here it comes right back in right now. I'm going to get out of this one if it breaks through 416 to the downside. That's going to be my stop there on Tesla because the market's just not doing things that I can stamp with approval right now as we come all the way back into the lows. I was talking about it coming back into the lows when we were up there at VWAP, and unfortunately that happened, and I do not wish upon that falling star, but right now it is coming back in. So we're not going to reload anything, basically. We did really good, I feel like, anyways, of getting out of NVIDIA. Right now, we have about less than 5% left on NVDA with no reload bids out right now. On Apple, we have less than maybe 8% left on Apple, and that's still not in trouble. It's still down here at that 236 level. I think I'm going to buy Apple again here just because it is just this close. So we can put on a little bit more risk because we are that close to 236. My stop is already in if it does break that level again. So we'll put on some shares here because the risk to reward is just too good not to right now on Apple, in my opinion. So there it is. We'll buy a little bit, dip buy here on Apple, and we'll just try to scalp it out a little bit if we can. We just bought some 16s, so if we get something out up here near the 30s, we'll take that opportunity to do that and just start to stack up here as the shorts are what's good right now, not long. So we just getting out of them, and we'll put our hands up and see if something wants to go. But what's up, Adara?
Actually couldn't find anything on Carvana CVNA. It's worth noting, though, we're still up 2%, even with that little drop to the downside. I wonder if we know that SMCI actually had a nice pop-up this morning after Hindenburg announced yesterday it would be closing. Hindenburg is, of course, the company with the short report on SMCI, but they also had a recent short report on CVNA, so that could be what initially led to this move up. Regardless, though, I have no news on that push to the downside, guys, for CVNA. Back to you.
I just heard something in my ear, but I guess it was not that big of a deal on Carvana. It was a pretty hefty move to the downside on it regardless, so it looks like it is heading down, but the market headed down anyway, so it's pretty much the same thing that the market did on a reversal. Come on, you can't hit the bid. There's no bid right now on Quantum or QBTS, this D-Wave. I don't want to chase it too far, but it's in that zone, like we're right at that bottom. If we're going to get short, it's got to be in this 575 to 580 range. Okay, here comes, right, I'm on the bid of Tesla here. It's right into this support level. 413 is going to be your bottom support. Even Robinhood's trying to hold 45.3 as well, which is where we have our last bid in front of 45.3. So as Tesla comes down, Robinhood's still in its bull flag, but not for long if we lose that break. If we break the quarters, you could easily retrace $1, maybe even $2 on Robinhood as strong as it is. All right, now we got some QBTS. So I just sort of sat on the offer. Let it come back into me. I think the play is at least back into 6, so got to give this one a little bit of room to catch its breath. Oh, AMAT as well. AMAT's still holding that higher low, so it's still looking okay on AMAT. I'd be much more inclined to see it catch a nice bid here and try to catch one of these entry points as opposed to on the red, try to grab that long. But holding up rather nicely, I think all things considered, for now is AMAT.
All right, I'm going to wait again. So we did get stopped out there, but basically a cup of coffee. So, but it's still now we'll have to talk about it. We went long there. We got a bunch out. I mean, we were talking about those 418s and stuff like that there on Tesla. There's a 418.20, 418 flat, and then it dropped through and we got out on that break of 416. I want to give it a little bit longer than that, like 415.50, basically back into the bottom. But this futures, again, not using big shares here at all. Just know that Tesla and Apple were trades that we looked at, so we liked it. IBIT falls out. We get out of that one, man. IBIT and crypto came right in. We did take the trade. We're back to 1 day. We're at day and a half goal. We've given back half of the day. So now we're at 1 day goal. But right there, 56 in, out right there, 56.75 on the break, 25 cents worth of risk. That's roughly where VWAP was. So that's about the risk to reward there on the 1-to-1. Apple about to come out. If it does break below 236 and change, one more penny lower. If it breaks, anyways, it's going to be out in 10 cents here. That looks like this will send us a little bit lower here on IBIT, on Apple. And then here's the last trade that we tried as well. No more longs after this. We've given it a shot here. It's 9.48. The market definitely pulling back from friends like Kyle Burdett and company probably really happy with some of the plays that are happening right now. We did not dip by that on Tesla. We made a mistake. We were looking at Apple. We should have been over there on Tesla. So here it goes, trying to hold out. 415.50 is the bottom for Tesla, and then we stop and we start to look short because the market right now going back to zeros. The NASDAQ is at zeros now. What is the ES? Down as well. So both markets right now down 0.5 and 0.05. So I still think there's room to run back up to the upside if we get lucky. Let's see what Tesla wants to do. Yesterday we saw what it wanted.
It could still go from like a red to green move there on the market.
Apple broke down.
This is a NASDAQ here. It's pretty much where we were, like right at the end of the day. Like you're bouncing off. Technically, I mean you're bouncing off close prices here if you're going to be able to make a bounce. Where is the rest of the data on my Robinhood chart? Oh, there you go. Let me zoom it back a little bit. Robinhood is trying to make the move back up. It never broke the lows. We just grabbed the higher low there. Morgan Stanley, I know that we didn't talk too much about the banks, but Morgan with their good earnings, that's even tracking lower as we speak. It hasn't gotten to 131, so there hasn't been an entry point for me yet. And then as I mentioned, AMAT still not looking. It's still holding up, but it has not retested 183 just yet. Robinhood, we're going to track this one, see if we get back into that 46 and break back out the all-time high 46.30 as it continues to go. Tesla's $2 away from my support level, getting real close. And NVIDIA as well, like the deeper level on NVIDIA has now come in, so it's making the reversion play on NVIDIA. Yesterday, my mistake was on NVIDIA was not taking the mean reversion and just sitting on the bid. Like I sat on the bid and then it did the wick, it did a deep wick and then the revert to the upside. So today I wanted to see it actually hold and close back above the trend line, then be able to grab it. We'll see if it can close holding above this 136 and then take the first swing at NVDA.
Yeah, you were just talking about DATS, right? That's starting to move up.
Yeah, I didn't hear the news on
Neither did I, but that is starting to move a little bit here.
That's what's up, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like, DATS appearing to move?
It's halted a couple
That's
times,
what's moving?
I think, already.
Those are not great. Okay, so we'll just continue to watch out what's going on. But there goes Dat Chat right here. If Adara has anything on that one, she'll bring it to us again and again and again, as she always does. And thanks, Adara, for all that, man. It's really been adding something to have like that live news desk again. We always had that with Brendo, but working on that, Adara's gained a lot of experience as far as trading is concerned. So definitely great to have analyzing, the recent moves, because Neil and I, we sit here and we do the best that we can. I'll tell you that much. That is for sure. And hard to look at the stock, look at our current positions that we have, like this on Tesla. We just got filled at 418 right there for a big winner there on TSLA, but still needs to come back in a little bit here. So let's wait to see what now happens on Tesla. Watching out for that 418. Was that a call? Sorry. No news yet. Okay,
no news on DATS is the story. So
that's not what's up. But the stock price.
Yeah, the story is there is no story.
The story
of a lovely lady.
DATS. Okay, yeah, or right, Brady. Either way, I'm down with that. Some people did not like Tom Brady there on what he did the Packers game, didn't he? I heard some. Yeah, I didn't. I don't know. I was listening to. I felt like he was fine. I don't know.
I'm gonna try and bite my tongue.
The thing is, when you're the GOAT, it's like, why? What's your opinion? What's the difference?
Greg Olson was an unbelievable analyst. Unbelievable, super talented, one of the best guys doing football games. And so he got the boot. The guy got
but so why did someone
fired.
Pick him up?
He essentially got fired so Tom Brady could come in. And you consider, obviously, Tom Brady's going to earn a heck of a lot more money than Greg Olson, and they had a good one, and they got rid of the wrong guy. So
yeah, but no, why didn't anybody pick up Olson?
Again, I don't know.
I
think Olson's so good. Sharif is telling us that Brady's going to focus on the Raiders, which is probably a good idea because they're absolute crap. So a couple of things happened.
I mean, you're not necessarily.
Okay, look, a lot is happening. Okay, so AMD and NVIDIA. Well, NVIDIA is at VWAP. We'll get to AMD in a second. We had the short breakdown on Qubits. It just, on D-Wave, it just broke the local high. So we're out and slapped to fail on that one. Remember, we were able yesterday to get it back by being willing to flip. Not instantly flipping on it yet. But if it's going to pull the over, then I got to be willing to play the over. NVIDIA does the mean revert, gets to VWAP. Next step would be to get to 138.5, where you have a bit of a local double top here on NVIDIA. So still a strong day overall for NVIDIA, but that market moved to the downside. Like you really had to weather the storm. And while that was going on, AMAT's starting to make some higher lows as well. So this is starting to go. TSM still looking very strong. The reason why we're looking at chips today is TSM. That's getting back and about above VWAP. So if TSM holds VWAP, NVIDIA holds VWAP, then there's no excuse not to be getting into AMAT finally. It might not be working off 183 anymore, but as we got into NVIDIA, probably missed the chance to get into AMAT, which is fine. AMAT's a very spready stock with the volume not nearly as good as it is over here in NVIDIA.
All right, so we've been picking our poison a little bit here at 418 with NVIDIA. We still do have, and we just got reloaded again. I'm gonna take another piece out here at 50 if we can do that. We're only in the money 50 cents, sorry, on Tesla, my bad. We're only in the money 50 cents right now on the name. So it's not like it's, you know, completely, you know, a rock star of a play here right this second. But again, you know, the risk that we're taking on this is probably too much for sort of the reward that we're taking right now. So let's just try to leave it. We've taken out enough profit now to put Tesla back into Greensville because remember, we were roughly flat to red on it once it broke that first time. Now we try to go back up there too. What's up, Randy? Back up now to the upside here on Tesla. So 417 and change. Let's see if it wants to go. I'm here waiting for it. We'll wait on that one. Hey, Randy, what's going on? Dip down there in Tesla. I know that you like Rivian, that's for sure. I'm going to, Randy, I don't mean to just blow you out of here, but I got to trade this name here. 417 and change. I'm long now at 416.50 or so, so I'm going to offer this out 417.30, see if we get a fill. But my break level down is 415. I don't know, Tesla, not that great today, man. Down 2.5% with the market flat. Not a good look here for TSLA as here it goes.
Well, the market's
starting to give some back. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Check that. Both the ES and the NASDAQ just went red again.
Right.
So, like, I know it was strong. We're not as strong as we were before. And Randy's, like, you look over at Tesla.
I just got some more out there.
Like, I'm double checking. Like, Rivian's not at the support level, and Rivian's holding
Tesla.
higher lows and above VWAP. Rivian is doing pretty well, relatively speaking. So I think maybe put this on the back burner. I'm still waiting for Tesla closer to 413. I'm not even sure we're going to get it the way it's starting to bounce. But VWAP at NVIDIA, it's just like it's right here and there's someone selling at VWAP. So I think it's made sense to get some out, but you're still battling really heavily here at VWAP to try to get above. The market's not doing it just yet. So we'll have to be very, very patient with it. Let me go back over to Tesla.
Yeah, so we're a dollar. So right now, good call there on Tesla. Dollar right now in the money, $1.20, $1.30. We just took $1.40 on Tesla as it went through 418. Like, so we're long at 416.50. So right now our stop is about $1 away. So we have to take it out when it keeps coming up. I mean, this market, Neil, just keeps failing. Trying to go, fail every time. It just went to the bottom, came back up, back in, back up. Like that's 3 or 4 times that we've wicked out near this bottom and failed to go to the top in the same sort of wicking action.
Should have just shorted AMD.
Yeah, exactly.
AMD 120, like every single time you... Here's the rule. The rule is if AMD 120 looks like a short, you should just take it. Because at the open, AMD broke 120 and then went clean to 118.5. And it's unabated. It's like this stock, and then I didn't even look at Intel. I just knew it was going to look at the same thing. Of course it looks exactly the same. If we're having a down day, then I got to join something when I didn't have a bunch of short ideas out there. So one of these off of VWAP, I mean, gut check tells me probably Intel because it looks a little bit weaker, but yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I'm probably going to look for a short over here off VWAP on one of these two names. I think you just have to. It's ridiculous. Like the stock does not want to catch a bid. AMD does not want to catch a bid. Even here comes Robinhood right back in. I'm trying to buy. Every time I try to get 45.50s, I'm not getting any fills. So I might step up a little bit to the 70s, but I want the opening range to be done at 10 o'clock. And then if 10 o'clock you're still holding these, maybe get a little bit more aggressive on Robinhood. So we're going to get some numbers coming through. That BMRA, that penny stock, went back into that dollar level as well. So worth looking at that if you're watching it, continue to play in it. NVIDIA is holding VWAP. It's starting to look good, but if we do fail the low again, I got to look at some Intel short. I got to look at some AMD short as well. But for now, the longs are still holding up.
Yeah, great trade on NVIDIA there. We just were lucky enough to go get a 418.40 fill on the top side there of Tesla as it's coming back. We're not coming back. Well, it's coming back now, but trying to make some moves here is TSLA, of course, as we wait to see where these moves are coming from. Let's hope the market can bounce off these levels, but there it comes right back in again. So we are in about a third of this position left. I'm going to put another piece out in around 417.50. Maybe we get that, maybe we don't. But this is something that I'm going to try to look at right now on the market is just scalping it out, and let's look for some other positions. What's RGTI doing? If we can have a quick look here at Rigetti maybe and have a quick little gander and see what that's doing, all the way up to 11 and change.
Oh, it's ripping now.
Yeah, that's, I was.
Those are going.
Yeah, I was like debating the short, honestly, in these names and just never was not able to catch it. What about 11.50? That was that break spot that we thought about. Oh my God, Neil, it's at $10. $10 was the spot again. We talked about that yesterday. We had this $10 long yesterday. So great trade there. Anybody, sirens up. We don't have it, but sirens up to those that do there on RGTI. Congratulations. We talked about that $10 mark earlier on in the day. I don't know why we were there, why we weren't there. Well, I mean, I know why. I'm sitting here with Tesla, which Tesla could break lower right now, guys. We're right at those levels right here, right now. I am not reloading this. Look at the NASDAQ. Like the fact that both Neil and I are long, I mean, I've been getting out. Tesla will be a tough trade today, trying to catch that long. When if you just flip up at psychology, this is why I'm saying, man, like this is what it's about. You can pick levels, but you're telling me that this doesn't look like a short, like the market is underneath. Why are these me getting out of longs there? I should be not only getting out of longs, I should be reversing short. Bad play for this guy, that is for sure, as there's the break back down below on Tesla. So we're just getting completely washed on these longs, but it's all good. Still a good day. We'll wait to see if it's going. It's a Dara with numbers.
We do have some numbers here. The NAHB housing market index coming a little bit higher than expected, 47 versus 45 expected, but business inventories month over month completely in line with expectations here, 0.1% versus the forecast of 0.1% and the previous print of 0.1%. So just to recap here, slightly stronger than expected NAHB data, but exactly in line business inventories data. And this market is continuing to push to the downside. This looks distinctly different from the action we saw yesterday, with strength across the board from the SPY and the Qs after that CPI data. We have some other stocks in watch here, including SMCI. Interestingly enough here, this actually got a little bit of a pop post-market and then also earlier today after Hindenburg Research, the company that issued a pretty scathing short report on this name back on August 27th, announced they were shutting their doors. We also have this is Morgan Stanley here. Morgan Stanley and BAC, unlike the nice bank rallies we saw yesterday, are pretty tepid today. Both, though, beating here across the board once again. So BAC and MS, despite having strong earnings, are not able to have the rally we saw in some of those banks that reported yesterday, guys. So make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. Back to you.
Yeah, I know we should have been looking at the banks. It's a day two type of play, but obviously we didn't really look at them. You're going to see all of the, any longs just came out there, actually off a higher low, but to Sean's point, I saw the selling on VWAP on NVIDIA. Like, I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, we got the curl. I can see them selling VWAP. You can see it in the book. You know, I can see it coming in the air tonight, and that's what was happening. Until the buyers are going to give you VWAP, then why am I sitting there thinking it's going to be long off that level? Okay, you got to be kidding me, Tesla. Were we already there? Okay. Right, so Tesla has now gone almost to that 413. This is not some kind of like a crazy level. This is where it bounced off VWAP yesterday at 11 o'clock. So if it does a mean revert, that would be the spot. I am in that BMRA holding $1. If it goes to penny stock status, I get out of it. Luis made a really good point about how stocks trade differently above and below $1. A lot of times, that's why you like the longs over and try to give it a little bit of a shot there. In a shocking stun of events, AMD just turned.
Up?
Yeah, if AMD can go up, then I'm just going to go back to...
Can.
I'm going back to first principles.
Look at Tesla.
AMAT's holding VWAP. It's that simple. AMAT's holding VWAP. Why am I not in AMAT?
All right, we have 15 seconds, but right now we have $2 back now. I mean, $1 back here on Tesla. Sorry, that's NVIDIA, my bad. There it is. We did buy some more there on Tesla. What I noticed is that dip just came right in there. 414 was the 200 period moving average. So we'll try it off that. And now it's $1 in the money. Look, like Neil and I, if you are a skilled trader but lacking capital, unlike us, prop firms offer the opportunity to trade with simulated funds, allowing you to showcase your skills, access account size ranging from 5,000 to, this is a big one, 500,000, and you can start with as little as $20. But with over 500 prop firms out there, how do you possibly know which ones are the best? That's where Prop Firm Match steps in. Prop Firm Match is your go-to platform for finding and comparing only the most esteemed firms with proven track records and consistent long-term payment histories. Access over 4,500 verified reviews, explore payout histories, and discover the best current deals all in one place. We got that QR code right there on your screen, on our screen. Make sure you scan that QR code to visit propfirmmatch.com today and find that perfect match for you. So we want to thank Prop Firm Match. And I think that's, me and Neil have talked about that. I thought that was a great idea.
The payout thing is
first
the biggest
heard about it. All right, one more out for me, 416.30s right there, nice out. Let's go back up to the upside. No more offers here on Tesla until we get back to VWAP, which is 419. So let's go Tesla. Let's see, guys. We're looking for $4 on this Tesla trade. That's what we're looking for. We're going to wait for that. SoFi. All right, so I bid down here. I think someone's mic. Maybe it's.
I hear an echo.
It's okay. There's an echo. Maybe it's Adair's. Okay. 1570 right there down to the downside for. Thank you, Ramin. 1570 downside right there for SoFi is where I was sitting. We didn't get that low, so I thought maybe on a dip buy opportunity there for SoFi. So yeah, blood in the streets today, but we're doing pretty good right now, holding our head. We're well above water, but we did take a hit there on Tesla, brought it back. NVIDIA by far holding the day for me right now. All my profits pretty much came from NVIDIA today. Apple we gave back when it broke lower. IBIT, we have an L on IBIT today, but it's getting juicy in my opinion right there. NVIDIA holds the whole day for us, and then Tesla right now is starting to go. We're feeling good about this one. Our target is a $4 winner, so let's wait. It doesn't matter how much it is. It's coming up here. VWAP. So 418 and change, I think, is where we'll get another piece out. And then that very top of 419, I think, is what we're really trying to look at there for Tesla. But this market, man, might be
is the word.
Yeah, it might be a fade to pop type of situation.
So I just saw in the chat, and thank you to everyone in the chat. If you're asking us about individual symbols in the chat, we try to get to them as much as we can. Trust me, there's a lot happening in the market, as you guys can see. I saw a lot of people just ask about Palantir. I looked it up, and Palantir is at 70. That said, I do have to
70.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm looking for Tesla to now. This is the trend. It's trying to close above the trend line. It never broke that 413 down here, so I'm looking for that curl. It's kind of what we looked for on NVIDIA, where it finally broke, closed above the trend line, and then enter into the long. But as we wait, I have it up on another chart, so it's not like I'm going to miss it. But if you see what's going on in Palantir, it just tagged that $70 level and a little bit of a reversal on Palantir. Thank you so much,
Randy. You the man.
So a bit of an over-under. 70's big resistance because it was big prior support on Palantir. So I think it makes sense that you're getting a dip buy. But finally, you're going to get a close above on Tesla as I try to hold the sneeze. And I'm going to go for the long. Local bottom, any mean reversion trade makes a fresh low, get out. It's that simple. Yes, I have a support level of 413. That just means I take a mean reversion, any one that's above that line. The first one, steady trend down on Tesla. We'll see if it can hold up here. I'm in it for the first time now, and we'll see where it can go. Get a reload on our coffee, and congratulations to everyone on that Palantir. No actual catalyst I'm aware of on Palantir, except for it likes to go up.
Yeah, and it's the best stock of 2025, I believe. Anyways, we'll wait to see what does happen here. Of course, with our friend Palantir. So, yeah, I like the stock. I really like the AI talk, obviously, that we continue to have with Palantir, and sort of what that means to them and what it means to their sort of environment and things like that. So again, I really like the stock there, Palantir. We can keep talking about it, but I think we do a good job of that quite often. It's the talk of the town around here, PLTR. So again, good look there, Neil, and a great talk and a great trade.
It was the viewers that pointed it out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what whoever I was just going to say, like whoever brought that up.
Shout out to the viewers
on PLTR. You got horse sense. All right, what's up, Dara?
Horse sense.
Guys, I want to let you guys know here, Palantir, no news about a 4.7% short float. Interestingly enough, actually one of the worst stocks of 2025 so far, both in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. Second worst performer on the NASDAQ. 10th worst performer on the S&P 500. There's going to be a graphic coming out on that for TTV research very soon. But yeah, Palantir could be just bouncing here. It's down as of a couple days ago, about 15% from its NASDAQ conclusion. So yeah, Palantir pretty beat up. This could just be a bit of a rebound here, guys.
Into the $60 level, an interesting one, that is for sure. Okay, guys, yeah, we're doing it here right now on Tesla. So it's coming back up into 418. We do have an offer at 417.80, as we had mentioned, what our sort of target was, but maybe we're having a little bit of a problem. I'm gonna go to 417.25, offer that. Maybe we get that, maybe we don't, as we're just bouncing around now. We gotta take, look, man, we're $2.50 in the money. We just went to 418. That's too bad. We were, again, the high there was 75s. We're at 85s. So it's sometimes just this game that we play here every single day. Very frustrating sometimes when you miss that price, especially when it's by, you know, pieces like that. That's too bad. But okay, just so we talk and we understand where we're at 10% left of our position here on Tesla. We felt really grateful to have experienced that move up right there, considering what that market had done. And the market also bouncing now off the 50-period moving average. So that's another thing to watch out for here. I still think some more upside. I still think we're going to get it. We're at there it is. So there it is. So we get that 417. That price was, okay, 417.26. We talked about that. There's the price. We had just got it. It's a good trade so far there on TSLA on the rebound. Let's see if we can get it back up to VWAP. That's where our next offer is.
Chuck of all trades, the answer is 98 and some random zeros, where my stop is on BMRA. I pretty much will never put a dollar stop at 99.99 cents. That's just out of sheer principle. So I usually want it to break a little bit more than that. You guys keep saying to check meta. I will do that in a quick second. But series of higher lows and holding on is AMAT for now. Holding on to VWAP, that is. I like the look. We just grabbed it long. Gonna give it to the prior bar low, I should say. Which is right in here on the 3 minute. So that's about 184 and a third. So AMAT's starting to go, looking like it's going to be a good one. Tesla did the revert, and the market's catching a bid. It looks like it can get to VWAP. I'd love this to get to VWAP for me. And I was asked, what about short in Intel? Well, it's not. I mean, I was sort of saying I wanted to get back up to VWAP or prior resistance. It's kind of barely moving. So it's not really bouncing far enough to look for that short just yet. We'll just work with AMAT, Tesla. I mean, NVIDIA's not really doing much. I think we're right to get out of NVIDIA. It's now holding the same range, VWAP sellers, and trying to hold on to 137. Whereas you've got Tesla moving, you've got AMAT holding above VWAP, Applied Materials that is, and tracking toward the high. So if the thesis was that the dudes that make the things that make the chips were supposed to be good today because of TSM, then maybe that's where we need to be. Like TSM's holding VWAP. You know, maybe NVIDIA isn't the one today. It did a lot of heavy lifting yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, so far today, when we're going to look around, I mean, we really do like that Palantir level, that's for sure. We do like SMCI. You had a good point about SMCI, and I remember when...
Should have shorted that.
Yeah, when I looked at the watch list today, I said to Adara, and I think Sharif was here, I think you were here, we were all here, and it was just like, what? Like, why is SMCI up 32? Like, you know, we saw TSM, we saw all those moves up right there. Wrong screen for now, Ramin, but there it is. So now you're trying to retake this VWAP. That should be a trade, taking that out right now, because you do get that whoosh back in as people say, what? Like Hindenburg is gone, so therefore SMCI is in the clear or something like that. But again, we'll wait for SMCI. Dara had another good point. Said, like, what was there, a more volatile stock or a stock that had a crazier journey in 2024 than SMCI? So we'll wait to see. I'm a little nervous about it. This $30 breakdown could be that wall that we are all a little bit afraid of right there. If we break that ledge, we'll get to the downside. Oh, ledge. Speak about that. We have Chris Brecher on tonight. The return of Chris Brecher. I'm going to read this note. He wants to talk about something right now. Hearing Google... Oh, yeah, something about EU law. It doesn't look like it's moving that much right now. So we'll get that all figured out. Adira will get this Google news when she does. But right now, Google not doing much. But I did. Okay, so nothing. She heard the news. It's an old story that we've already talked about. So, okay, we'll pass on that. All right, so there's a good out. Thankfully, we had that out. Watch out now. Here comes Tesla right back in like crazy time. We're going to get stopped out once this breaks. Our stop is right here at 414. It's coming back in pretty good. We'll reload it just a little bit, but not. Oh, there it goes. Okay, we are gone now on Tesla. Bye-bye, Tesla. What's up with that?
Yeah, Tesla just came through. I gave it to that prior bar high. It just broke. It was 145.60 or so that we're able to get out there. But that's now right into that 413. This is where it bounced off VWAP yesterday. Come to my chart for Ken. This is where it came back in off VWAP. So I tried the first mean reversion in front of it. We'll look for the second, hopefully right now, as the market continues to head lower. We got to fill. Okay, AMAT's still looking okay. Like, it just tagged 186.5, and it's holding higher lows in VWAP. If this breaks trend, you know, all bets are off. But at least that's starting to look pretty good. I'm going to get back to, in just 1 second, I was asked about Mara. Mara's looking better above VWAP, but Bitcoin's down at 98,000. Like, the idea was to play Mara on strength in Bitcoin. So, yeah, the chart looks good, but I'd be breaking my rule if I was not waiting for a bounce in BTC. So it looks like it's going to be Tesla getting into this 413 area. Going to look for the trend reversal down here. And because it's so steep, I'm making a switch to a 1 minute chart here, so I'll be able to see a bit better.
Okay, yeah, so I was, you know, if I'm going to do anything, I mean, we're looking at Bitcoin right now. That is really starting to go kind of the other way right now, goes BTC.
That is not good.
Yeah, like this is not a great sign right now for us watching out for Bitcoin and IBIT. I mean, breaking back through 97.8. I mean, we could see if eventually there could be a top here somewhere, but I don't know, 55 right up to the 200, or right up to the 50 period, up to VWAP. I was thinking that spot that we went long initially, 56, that's not a bad spot right there to consider the other way around. So maybe that is something to look forward to here on IBIT, shorting in and around that VWAP could be a play there as well. So we'll take a quick look at that and see if that comes back up into $56. I don't mind that trade at all, but again, it's got to come through first, and then, you know, we'll deal with it after that. So right there, IBIT trying to make that move back up. We can have a quick look at some of the cryptocurrencies or I guess the altcoins and see what they're doing. Let's just have, whoopsies, let's just have a quick little refresh here on CoinGecko. All right, so XRP up 44%, so that's going to be the big one. Solana's still up 10, Dogecoin up 17% right now. This is 17 days, right? This is the 24-hour spot right now. XRP up 12% there today. So we'll have a quick look at this, but that's the crypto look for right now. Looking to dip by, I would think, but again, $55. We'll have a closer look at Coinbase, IBIT, and some more cryptocurrencies when we get back.
Yes, sir, and we'll get back to talking about WKSP, introducing this new discovery on the NASDAQ and its worksport. A U.S.-based manufacturer and rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off the grid. Whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, Worksport has you covered. Now trading on the NASDAQ under WKSP, discover the future of clean energy with Worksport. Scan that QR code you see in front of you if interested. Check the link in the description of this video. Wow. Every now and then I just like to try to put some French in there. Yeah, why not? So while that was happening, 413 bounced for now on Tesla. And I say for now because every single bounce is kind of, you know, like there's been plenty of bounce spots on Tesla. Don't get me wrong. It's just none of them have been able to sustain into VWAP. I don't know that this one's going to be any different. I have this like opening range where we got the 416. That's going to be the target. And if we hold on to 413, maybe I can reload it one more time. Oh, be it BMRA, tries to hold $1. I am out. What did I get? 98. I don't know, whatever. Like 98 change. I'm out. I'm not going to double check the fill. But the second, I wasn't waiting for VWAP. This was an over-under dollar play to look for it to break out. Like I wasn't even offering until literally like 122, 123 for a breakout. But it's underneath the buck. I should probably pay for some locates in case it continues to the downside, and then I can short off the dollar level. But BAMRA heading to the downside. Tesla actually catching a bit of a bid. AMAT's holding up for now, and Bitcoin still can't bounce past 98. Let's go to Adara.
Keep an eye on Snap and Meta. Here's some of these social media takers. I'm seeing reports that a spokesperson for the Trump transition team said that Trump has, quote, repeatedly expressed his desire to save TikTok. And this actually follows reports from the Washington Post suggesting that Donald Trump would issue an executive order to stop this TikTok ban. So do be aware here of META and SNAP, that TikTok tailwind we speak about may actually be fading. It's also worth noting here that we do have some comments from Fed's Waller, who has basically made some kind of dovish comment saying that he thinks inflation will continue to come in towards their target, but He also commented here that he might actually have a more optimistic view on inflation than the rest of his colleagues. So his comments may have to be taken with a grain of salt there. Basically, we do have some dovish comments from Fed Zoller being negated by Fed Zoller himself, guys. Interesting stuff.
All right.
Dovish comments by Fed Zoller being negated by himself.
A bit of back and forth. I have too many comments.
The whole point is to be clear and concise at the Fed. That is the whole point. You're supposed to not shock the markets. It should be very clear what it is that you're saying.
Right.
It is what it is. I mean, whatever. Like,
yeah, exactly. Well, all right. So we took the opportunity as well to get a little bit more Tesla down there at 414. So nice. Okay, here we go. Big day alert again here as the market just kind of does not much. But where are the big days, right? So if we're going to look in, put in the chat right here what stock you've been hitting and where your profits are coming from. Right now today, we'll wait to see if Tesla can get back up there. We're starting to scalp a little bit more out. Good trade here. If we can get it into 416.30s, we just put an offer into there. The 50 period is right here at 80s. So a little bit of a bump up here through this level. We'll take it. Nice rally back. Actually, you know what? I'll take a piece right now. Why not? If we can get an 80 fill, there it is. We get that there on Tesla. Good little out there as we start to buy, and we go into this name, Tesla. Let's go. $1.50 now in the money on TSLA. So there was... I know we went to Adair on Carvana, but we're just hearing it in our ear. They keep on mentioning
this
Carvana.
thing is flying, dude.
Right there, okay.
5.5%.
Yeah, here we go. Shout out to everybody in here. MSTR is a big trade for people today. Palantir, Rigetti, AVGO says Ben. BPN says Monster. MSTR, not Monster. Google here. G-Man goes Google as well. AVGO goes Ben. Yeah, you know what, Ben? It's probably a name that I haven't even really put on my radar. Should be there for sure. Broadcom coming through. Robinhood, good game. Holo, Uber, Apple, screwed. Yeah, maybe. KLAC, BBAI, futures. Great trade on the futures. I should be looking over there as well. Roblox and shorts are now trapped. Let's sure as hell hope the shorts are trapped, Neil, because right now it is a $1 and a $2 winner on Tesla. So good little look there down there at 413. I know you had that as well. Good look.
Yeah, I just grabbed out of this at that 416. And again, it's been holding on to the trend. So if it holds that trend line, to me, that's a nice, easy bounce. I just feel like going back to first principles, AMAT looks a little bit stronger. And now that Bitcoin is back above 98 there. Every time I look up, I'm either looking at a chart of IBIT or I'm looking at Bitcoin prices. I want to go back to Robinhood. Robinhood stopped out the low after getting that initial long. You're back above VWAP. So back to first principles. It's still in the bull flag. It was holding on very nicely. Mara as well. When I look at this, we had the initial breakout on Mara. Obviously, Bitcoin's not really doing a heck of a lot, but you're getting a little more bullish again. So you had double bottom in there, and you're holding this top. I'd like you to break back out above the 18.2. I just kind of threw this line in essentially where we closed, then realized we closed actually at 15. So it's adjacent to the same level, just slightly above VWAP. I want buyers above, so this is going green and holding green before I get back into it. AMAT, alongside of the other chip names, it's now got a stronger trend, so ignore this trend of the higher lows. Once it held VWAP, that's the trend I was giving it to. It's now got the steep one off of VWAP on AMAT. So if we break out the high, plenty of room to run. But if we lose this trend line, dip by VWAP is the play. So I'm gonna get out of the AMAT on any break of this trend line that it's made since VWAP. Right now, that'd be about 186.70. Let's go to Adara with a small cap recap.
Interesting here, looking at the IWM in the 15-minute, because while we did have this push to the upside off the open yesterday, much like what we saw with the S&P 500 and the Qs, unlike that push, we actually kind of gave up a lot of that move. We didn't close near highs, kind of did a little bit of a rounded bottom, but no crazy breakout after that pop at 8:30. Now today, unlike the S&P 500 and the Qs, we don't have as much of a push to the downside. We're actually trying to bounce right now, roughly flat here for the IWM, just below 224. So Russell, kind of in a bull flag formation, but really no signs of a breakout as of yet. IPRX on Watch Your Immunity Bio, they have run in the past with a 30% short float. This morning announcing that they've reported submissions of applications for some treatments for specific types of bladder cancer. So bladder cancer treatment and a 30% short float on Watch for IBRX. Now we have Flexible Solutions, FSI. They're actually a Canadian company. They have about an 8 million share float, up about 50% here, announcing they've entered into a 5-year contract with an unnamed company in the US for manufacturing food-grade products. And last but not least, here we have DATS, Dat Chat. This one runs very often, usually without any news. That is the case for today. No news on DATS, but they do have a just under 3 million share float, so very small float there. Make sure to like and subscribe, guys. Back to you.
There's that.
Yeah, DATS with a very, very small. Sometimes, look, low float runners don't need a reason to go. They just do their own thing. It's essentially, the principle behind it is, doesn't take a heck of a lot for a single firm or a shop or something like that to soak up and take all the shares, and then there's nothing, no liquidity out there for anybody that happens to be short to cover. And then it just bleeds the price up. They probably make a bunch of posts on Reddit, and then the stock starts going. So that's the formula, and you never want to get caught. If it doesn't have a catalyst, I think you want to be scalp trading it to the upside when you're looking at low float runners. So AMAT is trying to hold on to the trend, but it's about to, we'll see. I mean, it's right at the trend top. And if we break, it's like 186. I said 70, it's actually 80 where this trend bottom is. So if it breaks that, we look for a retracement back into VWAP here on AMAT. Hood is trying, but not doing a very good job of holding on to VWAP. And then NVIDIA as well. Right back into VWAP and the sellers. Just sellers and sellers and sellers on NVIDIA at VWAP. It's Intel or AMD that I think are, like, I kind of felt like those are the ones that needed to be short. And it's like, well, NVIDIA's at VWAP, Intel's at VWAP. AMD is at the low, pretty much at the low of the day. So AMD is the weakest one of the group. So while it plays catch up, I just feel on this up move, try to hold on to the AMAT long if it continues to break out, because I want the longs to work. The NASDAQ just went green again, so instead of just trying to stick it into one of the ones that's strong, let the weakest one get to VWAP and play that if it gets there and try to ride the wave that's coming back into this upside. Bitcoin's now solidly above 98,000, so it's looking a little bit better in here for Mara. And then we closed at 18.15, but I think I'll probably just take something in the 10 to 15 range off of VWAP here as we go to Adair.
We mentioned here a little bit earlier that there was apparently a spokesperson for the Trump transition team saying that Trump would, in fact, be interested in keeping TikTok from going dark. Now, actually, we have some more comments on that. Apparently, this happened during an interview for Fox News. The advisor said that the incoming administration will keep TikTok from going dark, quote, as long as a viable deal is on the table. No specifications as to what a viable deal would entail. But either way, keep an eye here on META and SNAP actually getting a bit of a topping tail candle here for Meta, guys. Back to you.
Interesting stuff happening over there, I see.
Meta.
Yeah, we'll find out more about Meta and what's going on over there.
Sleepy.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, so far so good here. But yeah, let's, I still have Carvana up, I don't know why. Let's have a quick look at Meta. What is the NASDAQ doing again? Flat. So like, why I'm not hopping in and out of many trades is like, I feel like you have to be patient with this. The market's still doing what the market's doing. I mean, I wish it was doing a little more than this maybe, but we just try to hold on to what we've got, you know? And I mean, ready or not, you know, you live for the moment. 416.65. I mean, we've already gotten another piece out that looks like it's the high there for Tesla. It's a $2 winner, but I mean, we're kind of resting on it right now. So let's see if there's something else. 1026. I want to thank everybody for watching, liking, and subscribing. I mean, I haven't even hit over here yet to see how many we have. I'm going to refresh it, but right now, how many viewers do we have? Over 9,000, around 9,000 viewers right now. Let's get that like into the stratosphere. 1K. Let's even get 1.2, 1.3. If you haven't hit the like button, do so now. There's that Broadcom. Someone had mentioned there in the chat that this was their big play. Maybe it was this fade at the double top 237. You know, now you're starting to break lower. I'm going to get out another piece now on, I'm taking some 416s now on Tesla. Not distracted here at all. Just like, if this market's going to fade out again off the 21,400, then let's get out. Like, I'm waiting for higher fills. We were there at 416.65, just missed us there on the way back down in. So let's see, there we go. Let's take another piece out. So we're getting lower and lower, about 5% left of Tesla right now. So we had a reload over here, so no, less, more than 5% left. We have about 20 to 25% left of this Tesla reload right there. So we still need it to go one way here, hopefully upside.
Yeah, we want it to be one way, but as Marlo said in The Wire, sometimes it's the other way. I'm looking at this NASDAQ and like we just cannot seem to really hold green. We'll get green and then we'll sort of slide back in there every single time. It's like that Bitcoin and 100,000 on Bitcoin. We just can't seem to hold above it. So I'm going back over Still not breaking trend yet on AMAT, but I feel like any second now it's going to lose that bit. Stop is in regardless, but it's like AMD, I keep wanting to short a pop. AMD is not going up at all. It's just holding on to these lows. They got a downgrade from Wolf. Maybe Wolf got it right today. Okay, ignore that chart. That's going to be wrong on VWAP there. Intel is bouncing and up at 1955. VWAP's closer to the 60 level on Intel. But I am in Mara. We did hold on to 98.4, and you've held on to VWAP, so it's got this little bit of a trend. If we lose 18, then I'm going to get out of Robinhood for sure. But Bitcoin doing a decent job of holding on to some support here at 98. If you look at IBIT, it's obviously not going to be the same price as everybody, but you can sort of see what's going on with Bitcoin. You're in a nice upward trend. It's now gaining VWAP. So I go back to the name that we like to trade, and that was going to be Mara. So you hold VWAP here, continue uptrend. I don't see a reason why Mara shouldn't just follow suit to the upside. There goes AMAT. So once again, you look like you're going to break the high of the day. NVIDIA did the same thing. NVIDIA looked strong early, looked like it was running for a breakout. AMAT gives you VWAP and into 187. I'll play it again off VWAP if we get a chance. So if it mean reverts back in, I'm not shorting it here, but I am going to get out and look to see if we can play back into the volume weighted average price. NVIDIA loses VWAP as well. Like, it just feels like maybe the buyers can't seem to hold on well enough here. So we'll stick with Mara because Bitcoin's doing okay, but maybe we should just be jumping that Intel short after all.
Probably onto something. Oh, yeah, I was just looking at Intel. Funny you mentioned that there as well. I thought Intel maybe was basing out a little bit into there. I mean, look, the short obviously still working if it gets into here. That'd be 1940s. I just thought maybe if we were trying to find a base in a stock, it's funny you just mentioned Intel because it just showed sort of up on the scanner there because it's approaching that VWAP. We had an idea yesterday with Starbucks, so let's see what that sort of looks like here today. All right, so a nice break. Yesterday's trade was near the end of the day that we sort of thought this kind of a break might have been something. It looks like it happens right at the end of the day and then faded in there. So we didn't get that trade. That was a great short. Remember we were looking at this yesterday at the end of the day there, and then I was looking long because of what the market was doing, but then Starbucks pulls right back in. Funny thing is today with the NASDAQ being down, Starbucks is up. So it's kind of like flipping itself around a little bit here today. 93 and change. We just had Nat Gas come out. So that would be NG $F over here on my charts for e-signal. So here's
for Sharif's sake.
Yeah, so there's Nat Gas coming back in. So yeah, not much happening. I don't actually know what the number was. Oh, there it was. Gas storage minus 258 billion, I guess cubic, whatever, versus minus 260. So very, very in line, basically. 258 versus 260 there on a drawdown from minus. So again, a little less gas getting taken out of the system. They're sending gas prices down to the lows, I guess, of the pre-market. So, yeah. All right. They got going again, man. Tesla got going again right to the 50 period and stopped. So that's 416. So we're going to get another piece out. Put 416 flat in there. Cancel my 416.50. It doesn't look like we're going to get that. Let's see if we can get it. And let's go over to Adair and find out what she's up to.
For one, I found a bit of a story. We're going to talk about crypto, but really quickly before we do that, I want to talk about Palantir. I did find potentially something on this. So apparently Raymond James maintained a market perform rating, not a super bullish note. One thing they did say, though, which apparently, from what I've read, might be pushing up the stock, is that apparently there's been a vesting of roughly $120 million in stock appreciation rights. Basically, what happened was the company's stock is infinitely basically adding equity because they did reach over $50 throughout Q4. So that's what I'm seeing here. We know that we pushed above that $50 level during the fourth quarter, and apparently these rights have led to some recalibrated earnings expectations. It's actually led Raymond James to expect that their EPS is going to be lower in Q4. But I guess the fact that they have this $120 million in stock appreciation rights has actually led to a bit of a bullish look. So the note is bearish, but that aspect apparently is being viewed as bullish by investors. So that is apparently the deal with PLTR. I apologize, it's a lot of lingo there. But Trump here maybe giving a bit of a bullish lift for XRP and Solana. We have a report here from the New York Times suggesting that not the New York Times, New York Post, very different. New York Post reporting here that Donald Trump would be considering adding XRP and Solana to the crypto reserve as part of his, quote, America First Bitcoin strategy or crypto strategy. So either way, we know Trump has been viewed as bullish for Bitcoin and crypto, and this seems like another feather in that cap, if you will. Now, actually, we usually look at the daily chart, but I want us to look at the 15-minute chart on Bitcoin because this is actually looking pretty bearish. We have this rejection of this multiple support area here around 98.5. Hitting that right now and pushing lower. It's worth noting that we do have some clear support at that 97.3 area. We talk a lot about the support and resistance on crypto in the daily chart, but I think it'd be interesting to look at Bitcoin having some of these levels on the 15 as well. If we break below that 97,000 level, that could be a bit of a bad look for BTC. Let's take a look here as well at some of these other crypto performers. We know XRP, actually this is its second great day in a row. I'm sure that note from the New York Post helping XRP up about 10% right now. Solana here up about 5% on the same note, but Bitcoin and Ethereum a little down. Everything else, though, generally to the upside here in the crypto space, guys.
Apple has a sell program on it, and it's now down at it's down 2 points. This is the low from 2 days ago. So as it continues to bleed, when I say it's a sell program, I was asked the other day, like, how do you know it's a sell program? And it's one of those, like porn, you know it when you see it. Yeah, this is really what it looks like. Oh, it's sort of obvious. Like a lot of times it'll be disguised a little bit better. There is nothing hidden about what's going on at Apple right now. So the logic being, when it's already down this far, the way I looked for the Tesla reversion was kind of the similar thing. It wasn't this kind of a trend line. It was much different on Tesla. Like it was kind of like higher lows in there. This is just one straight on the 3-minute. And if it closes above the trend line, I'm going to go long. And I might work a different trend line off of like 34 or something if it continues to steep move into the downside. That is insane what is happening now on Apple. And I think just a one shot is probably going to be worth it. You don't necessarily want to catch a falling knife here, but I think looking for like one shot is going to make a little bit of sense. Big time movement to the downside on Apple. It's clearly like the market doesn't. This is the NASDAQ. NASDAQ is actually trying to hold everybody. Like it's holding right here, just barely in the red. The ES is doing something very similar in spite of everything you're seeing in Apple. This market is trying to get back and trying to bounce, and a lot of this bleeding probably due to what we're seeing over there in Apple. Now, the only thing I'm still in is Mara, which is just kind of holding VWAP in here. So we jumped back into it when it regained. We got out when it lost VWAP. We got back in when it regained VWAP. And we'll look to see if that can push back in toward the highs. It would certainly help if Bitcoin could get going. It would help if the market could also make a bit of a power move as well. So Apple, not looking very good, but that is very distinct what you guys are seeing down there. And I have to acknowledge it. But I'm just going to be very, very patient. I think you just look for that one shot to take the reversion trade. And if it gets to VWAP, great. Scalp it on the way to the upside. But I'm tracking this now. You have to. Apple doesn't usually move like this.
All right, yeah. We've been still on the same. Oh, you know what I want to look at? I said I want to look at some Coinbase right now. We got, by the way, there's the 50-period moving average. We're just going to keep doing that on Tesla. But no more. We've stopped doing it now. 417. Like now we're waiting for VWAP. I'm waiting for 417.30s. Let's see if we can get $1 higher right now on that name. Crypto's going nuts, man. That's a great story. I didn't even realize about that Solana and XRP. I think that's crazy for some of those names as they continue to go higher there. We will go over to Adara. Again, just a quick check on those prices just because of that story. So right now, XRP 330 up 10%. Right now, Solana 208 up 5%. What's up, A?
Is brought to you by eSignal. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to an elite trading experience where you can analyze, strategize, and capitalize. Foresee profitable opportunities with the platform you need. Infinite data can lead to instant trading, so you can know where the market's moving before others. With lightning fast data and charts that change the game. Customize and analyze markets faster, your way. There's better back testing and scanning, so you can predict the future by understanding the past. Reliable real-time data provides up-to-the-second market info from hundreds of global markets, everything you need, all in one place. Don't miss a beat. Execute your best trades now with eSignal. Are you ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Back to you.
Elevate your trading.
Yeah,
and,
like that.
One of the things that you can probably, I'm going to make a strong assumption, find is relative volume, moving average, things that are hugging moving averages for sure with eSignal. Like we said, Apple has got a very obvious pattern that you're seeing here. I'm jumping back over to, I'm still I still have Apple up on another chart, so I want to make sure if it breaks that trend, I'm going to be able to get it. But Tesla's coming back into that 413. That's that support that we liked. It's just where it bounced at VWAP yesterday. So if it can make another push, revert a trend at that point, I'd still look for another entry into the long on Tesla. Mars still doing the same thing it was before. Okay, Apple, is this going to be the green candle? And I say the green candle. There actually has been a green candle on the 3-minute chart. This would be the second green candle on a 3-minute chart. It looks like it's trying to make the break. I should slap a 1-minute up. When it gets down like this, sometimes you want to slap a 1-minute up because it's already breaking. It's already breaking trend here. I'm going to nibble in front of 232 because this is already broken trend. I can eyeball it. I know what's happened. It broke that local high. The local bottom is 232. And if it breaks it on the 3-minute, that can be a reason to add to the position on Apple. I guess the idea being that whomever is the program seller has stopped for temporarily or has just lightened up a little bit. So, like clearly it broke that trend and broke that prior bar. If it closes above this one, and it looks like it's going to try to maybe nibble a little bit more, still going to be giving it to 32. And I don't even know about VWAP. The way this is selling, looking for a VWAP bouncing is a little bit extreme, but Apple finally making a little bit of a turn here. Let's see if we can get to 233 on the bleed. Those iPhone sales in China, it's like how many times do we get notes like that and it just doesn't even matter? Today it does.
Yeah, great look on Apple. The thing is, too, like you identified that there was something going on it, right? I mean, you want to hop over to that.
Much like Palantir.
Yep.
No, I didn't.
Oh, someone else did?
The chat was undefeated. I didn't see no Palantir at $70. I didn't see this program on Apple. I didn't even have Apple up. I had Tesla, Hood, AMD, Intel. I got a bunch of other stuff. AMAT we're watching today. Apple actually wasn't on my list of things to look at today. But shout out to the chat. Like, you guys are undefeated.
You guys noticed. Someone noticed something there, and it was good for the chat.
Community.
Yeah, exactly. We always talk about that, and Unity, of course, as you get ready for that. I wonder if anything had ever come of that 420 post or that weird little cryptic post that
Roaring Kitty
our friend had there. Let's go check out Unity quickly here. Unity's, oops, that's Unity and Blue Ocean. Not open yet, Unity and Blue Ocean, of course. Unity.ny. When was it? Just before Christmas, I think that he was, or just before the new year, I think he tweeted that. Remember he put the date out, 01, 09, something like that?
Yeah, it was in December.
It was in December there. So yeah, there's a big bump up there for Unity. Maybe it wasn't in around here, November 18th or something, I don't know. But nice little bump up there for Unity, another bump there. So it's $20, actually holding not too bad for Unity down there at $20, but down 2%. Okay, it's Sector Watch time with Adara over at the screen.
We've seen a pretty scattered and kind of flat up and down performance for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. That's pretty much reflected in the sector board. We have some green sectors, some red sectors, but a lot that are doing pretty choppy action. Retail trade pretty flat here. Energy minerals, health technology relatively flat, consumer non-durables, and communication. But Tesla actually the only significantly red name in an otherwise flat consumer durable sector. Let's talk, though, about some of this strength. Utility is a pretty good look. Commercial services, producer manufacturing, finance. Electronic technology, though, being brought down by Apple, actually has some strong names like NVIDIA and Broadcom. And technology services has a little bit mixed performance as well. Netflix, CRM, Oracle to the upside. Meta and Google to the downside here. I do want to note as well health services, which is, I would say, the only sharply red sector on the day. UNH here leading this group to the downside on their earnings. They did beat on some metrics, but missed on others. So United Healthcare, which we know has been on watch since the fatal shooting of the CEO of United Healthcare, Brian Thompson, this one continuing to push to the downside, actually breaking below 520 this morning, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, like literally seconds ago, I saw in the chat, Sean James just said, if you like red slides, look at UNH. It's not about liking red slides. I mean, who does ultimately? As a trader, you go long, you go short, you can play action, but you don't really hope that stocks go down. I never really want to see that. UNH missed on revenue and, of course, not looking very good. But I didn't want to see this on Apple either. Look, man, I'm like everybody else. I own Apple in my long term. But here's the problem with Apple. It broke the trend, and it looks like it's going to break the prior bar low. Now, obviously, the prior bar low is in here, but when we're adding on this breakouts, we took that break, we took that break. Now, if it can't hold on to the 232 even, no mas. just going to give it a shot. I'm still offering 33s, 33.5, and then we'll play it by ear if it gets out and about and above. And oh, Intel just came in as well. So load, Intel chart's been weird today. Still weird. For some reason, Intel, my Intel chart, I'm sure everyone else is fine, looking a little bit weird. But it just wicked the 60 level. VWAP's not going to be right on this chart, so don't worry about it.
Going the other
but
way.
this market is trying to come back in, so I'm shorting it, giving it to 60 on Intel. So Apple, we're still long. I am remiss to look over at AMAT. So suffice to say, it didn't pull back into VWAP after pulling back off the high of the day. AMAT now up 5 points. This is the thing, that TSM move, AMAT is strong, LAM is strong. We knew ASML, these types of names were going to be relatively strong. I will say one thing about ASML, if you're trading this, in about 45 minutes, it's going to close in Europe, and the volume really dries up on it. So it's an expensive stock. Most people wouldn't trade it anyways, but it's those suppliers, and they're the ones that are doing really well here today. Mara now has a weird thing going on. We bought off VWAP, was able to get back to 1825. Now all of a sudden it's holding directly at 1806 at VWAP. So someone's buying it at that exact price, so the shares that we got out, I'm going to get back in at like 7s or 8s right off of that level here on Mara. And just if someone else is buying, then, you know, just sort of join the buying party that seems like is happening on VWAP here on MARA. And of course, the second we say it, it starts to bid away.
Well, we're bidding 413.50 on Tesla. It came right in, that's not Tesla. It came right in there to 413.50 and we didn't get filled. It went to 413.65 right there for Tesla. Let's check out Boeing a little bit here to see if there's anything going on that, because it's near that 170 level right now, and a really nice day here for Boeing. Started to take off. Now that we say that, we'll just hit a plane. All right, took off today, Boeing, down into the 200 period moving average. So a great little level there. Those of us that look at that, can you take a look at that? Hit it there again, blast off. There to the upside goes Boeing. So a nice little take there for anybody interested in that name. I like Boeing. I know Neil has been a recent buyer of that. And I think, again, you know, monopolistic companies are good ones to hold, especially if you're in a more longer term time frame, because they're not going anywhere. They will have their ups and downs, but Boeing, again, their, you know, new CEO, new little game plan coming through, bounce off of. I mean, I always think when you have this, like, I always like to see at least one more test sort of the 50 period moving average, but we might have got it right there. So you're getting close enough right now. I mean, I think if you're long Boeing, you're probably long until 160 on like a swing. And as I just said, for longer term, like the stock anyways. So good job there for Boeing.
They can't let them fail.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that if you're looking at a business, it's a good business.
You want a stat?
Yeah, I love stats.
Over 50%, south of 16, north of 50% of Boeing's revenue comes from the U.S. government.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So
and they're in. Don't they have contracts with NASA and everything like that?
Yeah,
like they're not
the other part of the equation.
Yeah, they're not just
Apple
making
tried.
these airplanes. But
Apple tried. Apple failed. It was one shot.
Apple.
Like, look at this. This is relentless on Apple. So I had the long here, you know, essentially at 220, 232.5. We got in blended price, giving it to the prior bar low on the reversion. I mean, it went about 20, 30 cents in the money, but when a stock has bled $7 off the top, probably not looking for that on a mean reversion, but to each their own. You're just going to continue to flush here on Apple. It might just take another more parabolic move or something crazier to the downside for it to catch a turn. Maybe 230 even when you look at that daily chart as well. So looking very, very nasty. Bitcoin's holding up nicely. That buying that was happening on Mara, I mean, like the second you notice like someone's just sitting there at 1806, jump on the bid and the stock heads back higher. So I'm going to get on the offer in front of that 25 again. Just takes them out, rinse and repeat off of VWAP. This stock is at least holding VWAP and looking strong. Everything else looking very heavy and very weak. Although Bearded Warrior Trades in the chat says Alphabet is strong.
Ooh, bearded, the bearded one.
Yeah, I will never be well, I shouldn't say never. Never say never. I'm a firm believer in that. I am very unlikely to be the bearded trader warrior. That's not going to be me. But Alphabet at the high of day and almost going green.
What?
That
I'd like to hear that.
That looks pretty strong. We do like to hear that on Alphabet. We'd also like to see the market catch a bit more of a bid here. The only thing I am short is very late on Intel. I'll probably just close and reopen that chart. But the other name that we haven't even been talking about is it's AMD. Like they're the ones that got the downgrade.
Chill.
They're the ones that can't catch a bid. Just chilling out at those lows. I keep thinking that will get to VWAP for a short, and it wants no part of it. And then here comes Tesla again, 413. Wow.
Yeah, we're on some Tesla here, but I don't know. We're long now, 413.30. We're now $1 in the money again here on Tesla. So let's just wait to see where it goes. We did want to dip by that trade. We keep on talking about it. So if we're talking about something, we're most likely doing it. So there it is right there on Tesla. I mean, I spend all day looking at these things. Might as well put a couple trades on. So there it goes, Tesla, 313.50. We did take a couple outs there. North, we just got filled at 414 quarters right there. It's going to drop through probably right now goes Tesla. Boom goes a dynamite the other way now on TSLA. So not a great trade to hold on to. That's why we scalp out. Here it comes right back into the low of the day again goes Tesla. Market goes boom. Tesla goes boom to the downside right there. But hey, we took profit on it, honestly, on that trade. So it's going to be okay for us. We will wind up, I'll have to check. We'll wind up down on Tesla on that trade, I would think, because it broke. But our ins were like 35s, breaking back down through 30. There's the pop back up again. All right, it's just so volatile, man. We need to find some shorts. We've only been long today. Look, it's a great day today.
Short seller report on RCAT.
Yeah, I saw that.
RCAT, okay, so there it goes. RCAT to the downside. Well, Hindenburg is closed, so who was it there? Muddy Waters?
I didn't catch it. I didn't catch who it was. Maybe it was Carousdale, but we'll see in a second. I just only heard it. I haven't actually read it. Carousdale Capital, so it is Carousdale Capital. Down 9% is Red Cat. Underneath that $10 level and looking, again, pretty nasty. I just want to make sure we got that one to you. Okay, Tesla might be able to revert this one on Tesla. I have a 1 minute up just because I want to be able to see these a little bit more clean. But at the same level that it did a trend reverse before, it's going to try and do it again. So we close. Here's going to try and close above the trend line, give it to the prior bottom. Oh, that's a big, strong bar. Should try to nibble. That could be a temporary low on Tesla.
Yeah,
there is the close.
Same thing.
You just see that? The bid just jumped the second it closed above that trend line on Tesla.
I mean, I really like the stock. I don't want to get people thinking that we don't like it. It's just the fact is like it's not performing that well right now, Tesla, against some of these levels. I'm not going to get back in. I'm going to wait to see if it does do something off of this level here. And of course, what we're talking about is 413. I mean, the market's bouncing here, man. I just don't want to punch it, though. All right, we'll see if we get something low on it. Let me go over to NVIDIA, another name that I know I like to dip by if possible. There's that 136 on NVIDIA. Wasn't that a level that we liked? Oh, we liked 236 on Apple. We can go back over to Apple and have a quick look. Let's punch a little bit here on NVIDIA, just in case. I mean, it looks like we could bounce off of these levels. So we're going to go into into NVIDIA right there, right now. I did want to check Apple to see what kind of, see what kind of levels we're at there for Apple. 231. Apple really getting, I know you were just on Apple, but Apple really on that program there, like just straight to the downside, really getting hit. Wow. We liked Apple 236 at the beginning of the day. This name getting absolutely crushed, AAPL. But there goes NVIDIA, Neil. Boy, oh boy, did we pick the right one, or maybe your Tesla, maybe if you're in that, probably trying to go as well. So far, so good here on the first trade of the day for me on NVIDIA. Let's go, man. That's a 30-cent winner. We'll slap it up a little bit there. Get back some of that money that we lost on Tesla right back in there on NVDA. So we went into that name. Let's see where it goes from here.
Yeah, let's see where it tries to go. I just looked over, like thinking there was going to be a revert on Apple when that market bounce happened.
Me too.
Absolutely not. But we're back in on Tesla at that 413 level. Look, if it can't hold 413, all bets are going to be off at that point. At the same time, I am tracking over it to Apple because it's almost at $230. So it's $1 away from the recent support at 230. Going to offer, just like the last bounce, going to offer into the resistance on Tesla. And then if it gets to 416, we'll be happy if it can get to the 416 level on Tesla. There's just been, I know the selling's been like above 416, but it hasn't really breached 417. So we'll sell it into that level. It just tagged 414 and a half. All right, Apple as well. So that's Tesla. Apple's about to break 231 to the downside. This is going to be juicy if it ever does a reversion. But the trend, look at how ridiculously linear that trend is. I've never seen this on Apple. Not once. Not once have I seen a sell program like this on Apple. Someone is unloading.
They're unloaded.
You know what? If it doesn't make a bounce this morning, patience through lunch. Because if you see a wall, like a support level, just start to form on Apple when things calm down, maybe the program turns off, that could be the better entry for Apple. Let's just work. Like, other things are making bounces and going. Like this is like, look at Tesla. There were actual bounce plays on Tesla. Apple is just a different beast right now.
Yeah, I could definitely appreciate that talk. I mean, that's you know, trying to find the opportunities where they lie is part of the problem all the time. Like there's so many different names, as Neil was mentioning there. Like if you can see something that you think you can take advantage of, like potentially that sell program or whatever it happens to be there on Apple, I mean, you want to get into there and see if there's something that makes some kind of sense to you, because you know the way that I'll trade, Neil will trade, anybody will trade. It has to, at the end of the day, it has to make sense to you. Like if you see a trade, you're like, you know what? I don't know why Sean would take that. Then don't take it, right? And ask us questions. We talk about opening it up in the chat all the time with you. So let us know if there's anything that sort of you're scratching an itch. You want to talk about a stock. You want to talk about a trade, anything like that. So we're getting some more out here at 56.57 on NVIDIA. Again, it's 10:53. It's not that we're getting close, because we go right into the midday show, which is with Joe and Sharif, and that should be another killer of a show. The last couple ones have been absolutely on fire, as they always are. So we appreciate all that trading that they do for you in the midday show as well. And we have, of course, the most popular thing is the Playmaker poll, and that will be happening one more time here today after, I think it was a big win yesterday, I thought it was, maybe. And it's a positive strategy. So good job there by everybody working on that Playmaker.
The long will be different today. The timing of it, though.
Let's see. I mean, what are people going to bet? I mean, right now the market's flat.
Yeah, but everyone's going to, look, it's going to be long. Because it's always long.
Yeah.
No, it's just like, I think it's 100% of the time the Playmaker poll has been to the long side. But we'll see today if you guys change your minds. Let's go to Adara. It's already 10:55.
Oh, my.
Just a couple minutes left here until the end of the session. I really want to quickly announce we have a new post here on TTV Research. It's going to be the weakest S&P 500 tickers so far in 2025. As hinted earlier, Palantir is number 10, and it's actually much worse when you look at its performance on the NASDAQ, though that'll be a post coming up here. But Edison International, which was hit pretty hard by the California wildfires due to its California subsidiary here, they're actually down about 24%. Constellation Brands down 18%. Moderna number 3 here. They were also one of the worst performers last year. This year, they're third as of year to date right now this year. PCG, also to the downside, Las Vegas Sands on Semiconductor, Hershey's, Brown-Forman, Lamb Weston, and of course Palantir. So a lot of performers here underperforming this year. If you want to look at this graphic on your own, check out TTV Research on X. Also really quickly here is a bit of a money talks, if you will. It's worth noting. Seeing this note here from Wells Fargo economists, they're saying they're expecting a decline here in the 10-year Treasury yield because we have even though we have a lot of strength in the U.S. economy, that outlook does have some potential for changes due to the U.S. trade policy. We do know that a lot of economists and even Fed members are basically saying they don't really know how to necessarily have or adjust their targets due to the potential tariffs and trade policy changes that could be made by incoming President Donald Trump. So they said because of that, there could be some concerns here about a decline of the 10-year Treasury. They actually also have forecasts here for 2 cuts from the Fed this year for rates after a, quote, prolonged hold. So unlike Bank of America, which is actually seeing rate hikes, Wells Fargo does think we'll have a couple cuts, but there'll be a lot of holds before that point. So a bit of an economic outlook here from Wells Fargo. Back to you.
Adara?
Thank you, Adara. And Escape Planet asks, what is your thesis on Intel? Well, my general thesis on Intel is they need to actually hire a CEO that can manage the turnaround of a lot of mismanagement and falling back way behind on technology and a bit of a lack of focus, missing out on AI because they were kind of too laser focused on a few other things. But you probably weren't asking about that. You probably were just curious about the trade. So, and again, Intel's been a bad stock, bad company for a while. So very quickly, here's a 15-minute chart on Intel.
Shit.
It's basically, if we come to my chart, we have like 3 minutes to go here. So there is the highs yesterday. There is some prior resistance here to about 1975. It failed, broke. The market was, I mean, the market was going with it. Now you're consolidating off of prior resistance. It's not exactly 1960 here, but it's a 1950 to 1960. The idea just being playing the trend lower high, shorting it here and giving it to that local top. If we trend continue down, then I have a stock that was weak this morning. And if the market stays weak, then that's what I want to be in. Scalp some to the low of the day. If it breaks, I think we can see 19.2. But stop is right above this. This is a 15-minute chart, that 1960 level on Intel. So Apple is doing it again, where it's trying to break trends. So just quickly, I'm going to mention that, and then I'll get over to show you guys. Tesla did get the first. It tracked the resistance at 414 change. It got to 415. Let's see if it can get to 416. Do not want this losing that 413 level here on Tesla. So a couple of bounces off the 413 level already. And if you're wondering where that comes from, it literally bounced off VWAP at this even dollar price yesterday. So not the full move being put in, but at least the afternoon move being put in and coming back down on Tesla, where it's been able to catch a bid twice now off that 413 level. Apple, so we'll try it again. I've already swung once and failed on a reversion on Apple. It just did another one in here. Same principle. I'll zoom in so you can see.
Like what the?
Take it breaking the prior bar, and we'll give it to the prior bar low. So that's just underneath 231 and a third. And I feel like it's the kind of trade that should only need to work once. But if Apple continues this trend to the downside, it just doesn't matter. Like I said, haven't really seen this kind of a program on Apple ever before. I'm sure it's happened. It's just never happened while I've been watching it. I can promise you that. So bit of a unique situation. Usually you're doing this kind of a trade on a chip name or a quantum name, but today it just happens to be Apple. Unabated. It's kind of weird what's happening, but it's real. And you got to be able to respect the price action. I'm questioning why I wasn't a seller of some Apple at the high.
I know, right? It's a tough trade. You know, we always say you never want to really get out of Apple too much, but
yeah, it's like own it,
that
but
was
don't
probably
trade it.
a
the
decent
same
level.
There we go, Tesla. At least, see, it's like Apple went just now on that last little pump in the futures. The futures just pumped like 30 points.
Oh, NVIDIA.
Just got that 416 on Tesla, so we'll take that.
Whoosh.
Apple bounced in that same candle 15 cents. Tesla just bounced $1 on that candle, and this is what just happened in Apple. It's barely even registering. Wow, that is insane how weak this stock is. So make a decision, either scalp trade this or tighten it up or both. Maybe it's not worth giving it back to the prior bar because where is the buying on this thing? So maybe a tighter stop on Apple. But Tesla definitely has worked a few times here off that 213 level and coming into VWAP as we speak. Apple's going to give it a try. It's already 11 o'clock. Yeah. That means, we'll be back at 2.
Perfect.
And of course, this afternoon, aftermarket show is going to also have the Brecher Ledge back that we'll be able to talk about. But for now, it's going to be the Bash Brothers. And I feel like the timing of that Playmaker trade, it's like you never get to go long off the actual low that gets made. We're always chasing that move with the Playmaker trade. Let's see how it goes today. We got the Bash Brothers locked and loaded. Good one this morning. Let's kick it on over to learn to trade. And whatever the lesson is today.
Yeah.